Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the AWOL channel. We're not going to spell out the acronym anymore. It's just AWOL, and this
It's always
is
been A.W.O.L, let's be real
it's
here. It's
yeah. I
always been
mean,
A.W.O.L.
always. Simon get used to be very particular about putting the periods. I've never put them. So welcome to your new home for English broadcasting of the weekly Aces tournament every Monday at specifically this time. I'm joined today by world-renowned caster Bandit. How you doing today, Bandit?
I am doing splendidly. I'm looking forward to it. I've been on a bit of a altered hiatus, but it's been itching lately. So digging into a proper tournament, I think that'll satiate me just fine, Cole.
We're both kind of on a similar era where we missed last week. I've been at PAX Unplugged, and then there was, American Thanksgiving, yada yada. So I'm
Yeah,
excited for some
it's
surprises
fine.
this week.
You can call us fake fans. I accept that label.
Yep. Ooh, okay. I see a name that I don't get to watch very often, but recognize in the Discord often.
No.
Table 22.
Table 22. I am hopping the hell over.
All right. Long time no see indeed. How you doing in the chat? Looks like we have a Fen versus Kojo. Let me bring you the gameplay here. Look at that. It's already on the screen. It's beautiful. I think for this overlay, I have to zoom in one, and we are there. Already a double progression on both sides. That is interesting. Unfortunately, we missed why or how.
Yeah, I think it's mostly interesting because Kojo was not in play. So I think we can tell that with all the zero digits coming through, um, we have had an advance from the mighty Jin against the bassist, and an advance from the Leviathan spotter into the contortionist, where where the contortionist beats on mountains. So cruising through the early game, but that is definitely Kojo favored. I think Fen really wants that hustles to come up later and later. So we'll see how this pays off and if Kojo can actually capitalize on such an early sprint without the Buddha even present.
Yep. And the time is still ticking down, so I think Living Plane does have to recognize this card. One of the really interesting changes since I believe either of us last cast is with this Leviathan spotter where it reveals a character. It used
Mm,
to just reveal it and then you could see it in hand basically the whole time. But that's not really how revealing works in general. So it looks like the devs updated that. The other player just has to recognize that they've seen it, and then it goes back
use
to
that
hidden
noggin of theirs.
information. Yeah, they gotta remember. So that was really cool that we already got to see that there. Already interesting. A pass from the Kojo does not want to play the Tiny Jin out. Maybe because the sleep is too scary, but
The sleep is too scary, and currently they're just not sitting in mountains. So they would be paying 2 mana to lose a body that will not be helping them to any progression whatsoever. But that is the opening for Fen to try and capitalize, see if they can get something going. But it would have to be a 1 mana that gets double on the water. Will not be happening. Instead, we'll be leaving this day with an extra mana up, and that is considering that Kojo only made a minor investment card wise and mana wise. Wins upon wins for Kojo, flying high right now.
yeah, that is very specifically a very good, almost 500 elo play. You could have put out the Tiny Jin because most people would think, oh, I need to ramp. Maybe I'm ramping towards the hunger or whatever. But Goopil, like you said,
Mm,
saw there was no mountain, had good presence already, wasn't going to overload the reserve with anything, and it seemingly paid off very well in their favor taking that 2 for 1.
Yeah, and I think it kind of pays off double, right? Because one of you're saving a card that you can put on later, and now suddenly you feel very rich card wise as well because there was a quite a heavy investment from Fen, which I mean can be portrayed all like cards from reserve are not worth cards in reserve for other heroes, right? I think we can be we I think we can agree on that. But regardless, this Kojo is rich in cards on hand, and they can even just go one for one till the end of time right now until they finally do win.
Yep, and this Anansi is really not that scary now, especially with the Tiny Jin getting a boost from reserve. Uh, chooses to avoid it, which is, also fine. This is Kojo at its finest, just going speedy and like you said, they just have to one for one now at the least and head on to the win. Hello, Rosario. I have not taken a break from Altered, but I definitely have not been studying or watching the competitive scene as much. Too much busy traveling, and as you may know, been a little change in tournaments and casting as of late.
Oh, this is interesting because it looks like with the rabbit, you're kind of feeling the mighty Jin in a moment like that. But with the enhanced fire rabbit, they will be actually pushing through another double advance coming through for the Kojo. It will be answered on one side, but because of the solo mountain, they are getting stuck with the Anansi, and that is not the position you want to be in right now. Especially considering that Kojo will be coming down all the same, whilst Kojo only needs the single advance. Buddha will be coming down. Sorry, they just look so alike.
Yeah, they're one. They're basically,
Yeah, yeah.
intertwined.
They're inseparable,
Yep.
except for at the start of the game where they are separated.
I mean, if you look at the art, it looks like Buddha is almost just wrapping flames around Kojo's hand. So I gotta assume Kojo has some fire resistance. So they're a good duo together. But this Tengu in reserve mixed with the Buddha coming out, 3 cards in hand. The Anansi gets scarier here on. Oh, not anymore. Not scary anymore. Yeah, this is looking very bad for Finn.
Yeah, yeah, that'll definitely bring it down, especially when you look at how little might and power there is available in that water biome. And even if they did have it, they would be investing in a biome in which they cannot advance themselves. So really tight between a rock and a hard place, which, well, kind of fitting that they're on double mountain biomes, aren't they?
I love the mountain that's just come out in favor of Kojo here through and through. But one of the other really interesting things is the whole Leviathan spotter. I think if you told me before the set was released that this would be a must include card, I'd have to think a little harder about why. But now that you kinda look at it and you see how it plays, it's like, "Oh, of course. That is
Yep.
good stats for card advantage, and you don't
It
really
is
give up that much."
it is great. It is the new Baba Yaga, but in Bravos,
Yep, yep.
where you get a 2 mana 3/2/2, which we've seen before. Great stats to have on two, and I'll give it this. It is more choreographed and more conditional. However, most decks are holding on to their forecast cards anyway. So by the time you're playing this, you'll probably be doing just a okay. And with the Mighty Jins, for instance, which you're usually already playing at least two of, it feels like a no-brainer, but really after the fact, where we're like, oh yeah, now that you mention it, that is great. That is upside upon upside with a good beat stick to to claw myself to a win.
Yeah, I'm, trying to okay. Well, I go to say something and then the players are playing so fast that they just answer the questions beforehand. It was looking bad for Fen because of this reserve. Basically, all Lyra contortionists. There were no discount cards available like Fen would want to see. If there was something like a Twinkle Twinkle or what else do they run? We didn't see anything else in the reserve. I could have seen maybe a possibility for Fen to stave off the loss right there based on just a Haven bouncer and then the stats that were on the companion side, but
It
they
was just such
answered.
an avalanche.
Yep.
It was just such an avalanche coming through, and I think I already spotted our next table. I think it's table 35, 35,
Ooh. Alright, let's take a look.
where I mean we're not Altered Aces biased, but I mean when they're facing off against the man himself, Runefolk, I mean we have to get in on the action, right?
Yep, it looks like Rinfolk is playing Waru, but did already lose that game against AA Bajulian. Looks
Ah,
like
damn
we
it!
just missed it.
No, that's a shame. But on the upside, Waro did lose, so hey, it's not all bad, folks.
Yep. We now know Runefolk is out here with the Waru prison for the day, unless he decided to hang up the villain hat and play just fair Waru, which I highly doubt. But
Not happening, man.
speaking of AA, if you want to go to table 11, we should see a game from Cladius, who I believe, let me take a look. I'm gonna look at the actual tournament page. Who, yeah, it is Clay, is the TO of this tournament.
Oh, it's
I
rigged.
wasn't rigged. I
Rigged.
I knew that he did a lot of the posting in the Discord and a lot of the messages, but I wasn't sure if he had also set up the tournament. So now we know. And as classic Clay on Siggy versus Atasia here.
At least he has a
And
good excuse for it now. Like, no, no, guys, I need the hero. I can autopilot at any time because I'm also TO.
right? There you go. Is that how you justify playing Siggy?
um, I usually blamed my particularly undeveloped frontal cortex whenever I played Siggy. It's like they have the least amount of words on them, man. That is
Tasia's kind of the same, you know. The worst thing about playing Tasia frequently is when you switch to another hero, your brain factors in the boost that doesn't exist anymore. I was
yeah.
playing Arok yesterday and I was like, "Wait, I don't get a boost."
Wait, you guys are not doing steroids here? Why are you guys not doing steroids here? It's great. You just put the boost on.
Exactly. And Atasia going toe to toe with Siggy means, of course, we have uniques like this caregiver. When a character you control gains one or more boosts, if I have two or more boosts, you anchor stuff. And there's Spindle Harvesters that also does basically the same in the discard already.
It's an absolute. I mean, it's classic. It's a classic matchup, and I think it's going to be interesting because they are both getting quite strapped on resources. And especially considering that the Tiny Deal has already been used this turn, you're kind of, you know, looking down the barrel of a 0-2 day Siggy right now, unless you have the answer in hand. And for 2 mana, do not get me wrong, Siggy can do a whole lot. For instance, but not limited to, overpowering with an Ascended Expedition, and suddenly things are not looking that bad anymore.
Oh, yeah, that is just a wonderful little play that hurts. Before we went live, we were talking about topics of discussion, and this matchup reminded me of something that was just revealed today, which for me is very unfortunate, but others may enjoy. These two are actually dating, so Sigismar and Tasia, however that makes you feel.
Oh. Um. Oh, I thought she was. I thought she and the fox were kind of a thing.
I don't think she goes that far. I think they're just friends. I don't think
Oh,
Nara
poor
is her
poor
partner.
Nara getting friend zoned, man. Oh, what the hell? I thought this game was all about inclusivity. What the hell?
We're not going down the furry lane quite yet.
No.
Not yet.
Cole,
Soon.
Cole, there is a woman hugging a giant fox on my screen. What do you I've seen this happen, I think at least 8 times at Comic Con. So, where are
I
your gods now?
I mean, to be fair, she also does rock a backpack that is modeled after Nara, so I see how you could think such things.
I am just saying if my partner would have a backpack like that of me, I would have married them a lot sooner. I'm just putting that out there. That is a green flag, everyone. That is a green flag for those not familiar.
I'm gonna refresh because it looks like the timers have broken. Another great, thing happening over the past
Blink and you
few
miss
days
it,
is
huh?
BGA has been struggling the last couple days. So I refresh and we see an Ozma come out, which is from anywhere, draw a card basically. And if you have less than 8 mana orbs, create 2 soldiers in my expedition. Ouch. And then the gargoyle just to make it all even worse.
Ooh, ooh. I mean, this is looking pretty bad, and just from a purely resource perspective, I think Sigismar is looking very favorable. On the upside, that does give us the opportunity to talk about a very important question from Alkes, who asked, "Are the companions from Sigismar and Teja dating as well?"
I don't think we
They
have
gotta be, right? They gotta be.
enough information to confirm or deny yet. They've been keeping their relationship hush hush.
I,
It
I, I
was
thi- I think we can speculate.
yeah,
I
we
am
can
ready to
speculate.
speculate.
The mana eruption does not do enough, and the GGs are called here. So I don't know. The way I maybe we shouldn't get too deep into this. I was gonna say the way I see Wingspan is a giant ironclad, maybe half concrete bird, and then Nara a fluffy fox. But hey, opposites attract. Sigismar is a war
Like,
criminal, and I thought Tasia was better than that, but you never know.
but he has those baby blues, man. He has the. I mean, he has those baby blues. One look at him, and you are you're done for. And
Yeah, that
that
is
was
what I have
actually my.
heard.
I can assure you that my eyes are a lot less sleep. All
Status
right, let me
is
see.
it's complicated. True.
um, I would love to hear the commentary from one of the other, like the one going well, and the other one yes. I think we can zoom in on table 8. I believe that one's still going,
All right, table
and
8.
we have quite a ways to go on that one actually. As we have, that is, oh, it's a Gulrang facing off against Basira, and this Gulrang is absolutely feasting. Behind in tempo, sure. However, mounted herself up with a Messick Tat and enough cards to feed an orphanage. I think we can be sure about that. So if we dig through, oh, oh my, I was for sure convinced that we'd see some unique that would let them draw in the trash, but that actually doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah,
It's all
just
natural. It's all natural gains.
all natural. Yeah, looks like some field reinforcements, some conjuring seals. What is really great about the turn that just happened is the Legat gets to activate,
Mm,
but so does Suha. So it- I wonder if
yeah.
Basira can just force this the last two progressions to win, or if the card advantage is gonna come knocking.
Well, I mean, they're well equipped, right? I think it's safe to say with the mighty Jin staying in place, or will he be? I mean, I saw a hypothermia, so I believe he was put asleep. But hey, with the power of technology, I can go into the past and figure that out if we have that information at our disposal. I'm digging through the archives. 1 second. Ooh, no. I do believe that Mighty Jin will be moving. Yeah, it's definitely gone. You might have to refresh.
Yeah. I just refreshed as I knew we were discarding and sabotaging on both sides. Looks like the game is moving along on my screen and on stream screen. And so sorry to hear that you lost game one since it didn't let you pass. Yeah, BGA's had some, I would say probably the most errors I've seen in a long time over the past couple days. Not quite sure what they got going on, but always unfortunate when it lasts around tournament time.
Yeah, and especially if you're not in the know, right? And they're new oddities introducing themselves. I think people kind of caught on that they might have to refresh when their timer's running down. But yeah, when you're encountering new issues that have yet to be addressed or have yet to get a fix or a workaround, that is particularly painful. Now, the other thing that might be particularly painful is the ever dwindling cards available to Basira currently. I mean, they're gonna get a fair shake at it with a lot of power in the mountains right now. Um, however, however, I feel like with hypothermia out, that is a scary proposition.
Yeah, this turn is going to be very interesting for Ghoulrang. We saw that Hound come out, which sheesh, this 1-1-1-1-1. But when a non-token character joins either of your expeditions, if your hero expedition is behind, it creates a recruit in your companion expedition. So Ghoulrang basically just needs to focus on this hero side and let the companion side do its own work. Ooh, that Suha though is perfectly played to get rid of the Hound and make it only survive for 1 day.
I mean, that is gonna benefit them. However, with the hypothermia out, you can just put the hound to sleep. Yeah, it's gonna cost you 3 mana, but this is the last time you can afford yourself a 1 for 1. So I would keep that in mind, if it's safe to play after we get to see what the possibly last turn of Basira will be, because that might just be worth the investment.
The 2 or more boosted characters roll a die and gain boosts, and target character gains 1 boost. Yeah, I think seeing what we can see, it's the best play that Goring seemingly has, especially because the
However,
reserve is already overloaded.
however, it does mean, I mean, they are investing quite a bit right now,
Mhm.
and it could mean that you would be facing up against a 3-5 or a 5-4 in the next day, right? If you're playing hypothermia and they get to sleep one of their stronger characters. So I like this, where they really are threatening right now to be like, all right, if I hypothermia now, I will actually be beating you if you take one of your stronger characters away. Actually, at this point, anyone that they'll put to sleep means that they will be tying on the mountain biome, whilst forcing a advance in the water biome. So I think hypothermia is the perfect play here. Yeah, and that's exactly what will transpire. And this is keeping them in the game. Oh,
Ooh,
that
wait.
is a choice.
Interesting. Yeah, this is an interesting choice, especially because with hypothermia, you don't get to pick what your opponent puts to sleep. And
But the how
the
I feel like it doesn't matter what they pick if you put the hound to sleep. You're
yeah,
gonna spawn the tokens in
yep.
that other expedition regardless. So we see no chats coming out, so they might have the information that they need in hand to make this play a more logical one. But I really thought they were going to prioritize their plays from with the hound in mind. But let's see what they got cooking.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Hound is gone, but maybe they expected that and it's a sneaky little play that they have up their sleeve. That was yep, there goes the Hound. That was the first unique we saw, so maybe we have something else, but Yeah, I really liked the line that you saw because even with that, the hero expedition is still behind, but the game is, more equalized and you still have access to the hound spamming
And
tokens.
I feel like they would have advanced regardless, right? On the hero expedition because
Yeah.
they would be going down in water, but they might have advanced on mountains. I think that might have been it.
Yeah,
Tricky,
let's
tricky.
see what they have here. Double Haven out for Basira is scary though.
Yeah. However, they only have one card to really take advantage from it, right? And if meanwhile, if they're not careful, Gulrang might just be taking the win at this day. So what are we looking for? We're looking for hungers. But then you're gonna run into the problem: can I stall long enough? But the hunger might be an actual bombshell, and with the amount of stalling that Gulrang has done, also means that Basira has gotten to see a lot of their cards in their deck. Only 13 left. So that's what roughly like 66% of their deck that they did get to see.
Yeah,
Do the math on that one, right?
that is I'm too old for math. That is a super good call out though. Maybe the ghoul ring is expecting the hunger, so they knew that no matter what, the hound was going to get eaten. And tokens do not boost up the hunger. So maybe that they're just expecting that. I think it hurts if there is no hunger though, but I guess we'll see here in a turn or two.
Yeah, I think it's first of all quite curious that the hay. Never mind, never mind. That is Axiom. That needs to tap the havens. My bad. All right, we got some helping hands, and most interesting on this one, besides getting, of course, the extra sabotage for this one, it also means that that hunger is still alive. We can still expect a hunger if we're not careful, and I think that Gulrang is really playing around this, ridding herself of her reserve as much as possible to deny any counters coming through, emptying it just that little bit more to keep the door open as much as they can. And this is the moment. If there's anything else but a hunger coming out, and that's exactly what we're going to see.
Mhm. Yep, and that Silas was able to draw 2 cards, I believe. They used the Legat quick action to create a soldier, which drew a card, and then they played the Armory, which drew a card.
It's not looking bad though. A single Sandman gets this in the bag, pretty much. And they have so many cards at their disposal. So this is definitely not done and dusted just yet.
Yep, and we're probably gonna have to refresh here in a second as the hunger is going to wipe the whole board. Alright, I have refreshed.
So we did get the Templar Scout. A pass from Basira, and how we're gonna have to see, will there be more? Just the one, but that does leave 3 mana. So a single hypothermia is all it needs. But no, instead, we will be seeing a license withdrawal. Put that hunger away. And this win is going in the snack bin for Gulrang, who it was a hard fought victory. And I think there's very little that Basira in this one could have played differently. I think stalling on the last turn, it really is your best bet. But when there's so many cards at the disposal of Gulrang, it feels like they have answers for everything.
Yep. I think our screen was so bugged we did not see the Templar, which is hilarious because I was like, wait, how is Goldring winning? There's nothing in the hero side.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can clarify. They scouted a Templar on the hero expedition.
yeah. So I
It's a
refreshed.
two
We
two
see it
two.
in the discard. If you're watching this back and you're like, what the hell? There you go. You have the visualization now. That was funny. Can I ask how you would define a mid-range type of deck for altered? No, you cannot ask.
Yeah, get out of here. This is no. Get out.
I'll be honest,
Imagine a deck which range is not very long, but also not very short.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I'm equipped to answer that perfectly because my
I'll have a stab at it.
bulk of experience is altered, so
I think when you're looking at the mid range decks here, you're really looking at decks that because the mana costs are so tricky here, right? Because we are playing a skirmish style TCG where the curves are just a lot lower because the payoffs for these giant creatures comes at the cost of inflexibility. So a 4 mana creature here would be considered to me an expensive creature. That is already like on the higher end. And I think the perfect epitome of mid range is cards that, for the cost that they do, and that cost is usually in the middle, right? So not one and not higher than four, get a whole lot of value. And to me, Sigismar is really that mid range deck if it's not built too aggro like, which we have seen it shifts more to these drawing styles with more expensive uniques and less focused on the token spawners. And you get cards like the Sandman, you get which are 3 mana, which is on the high, like pretty in the middle, I'd say, in an altered list. But you'll play so many of them because it will always be useful and it's so flexible and it doesn't have the perfect answer for everything, but it gets the job done against a whole lot of decks. The Jack of all trades, where just the pure value generated from the cards in the tourneys that draw you cards, or a 2/2 for 2, which is just fine, can pull themselves ahead in a plethora of situations. So to me, that is what mid range is all about. Just playing according to the rules of your cards, right? Not necessarily abusing or making use of never seen before synergies or cards that really trampoline or like I said, explode in value when combined with, but really just cards on face value getting the job done.
Well said, well said. I while you were explaining, I was looking around at some things and there was a game that was at 0%. Uh and I think they were on purpose not playing for some reason. Because they were typing in chat and they said, I'm doing this uh so people don't end up playing against Traced who play Ouroboros, which I
Okay,
don't quite understand because they were against Sierra. But I
it'll
think the
show him.
tournament organizers are on it. Maybe, hopefully, that was very interesting to happen upon. I think that means we should. Yes, we are in round two. What are you wanting to see, Bandit?
What do I want to see? I really did not prepare for this question, even though I really should have. I mean, when in doubt, just go to table one, right?
All right, yeah, Blue Ocean versus Elendil. Blue Ocean, of course, an
Sorry.
AA player. No, it was perfect. Uh, and I do not recognize Elendil. There's another answer from Marv in there in the chat. Yeah, usually I go as far, like if I'm talking about certain types of decks in Altered, because I do a lot of demos for the game at conventions and things like that. I usually just go as far as like, what do you like to play in another game? And most people are like, oh, I like control, or I like, token spam. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's very easy to answer. But Altered is really such a unique game that sometimes I find I find
Roll credits.
difficult certain, what is really mid range versus
Yeah,
whatever.
it doesn't really adhere to the same necessarily to the same archetype because it is a skirmish based game. So managing the tide of play, the tempo of play, and the leveraging the information available to you is such a key aspect of the game that there is an inherent price tag to running these more expensive cards, which I think they kind of been zeroing in on how to give the higher costed cards a little bit of extra oomph that maybe they were missing from the earlier sets. I think it is very it just the case in point here is Atsari having a lot of good finishes with the newer cards coming out. But that is kind of pivoting the scales in the other direction, where that is not mid range at all. That is just very very big ramp decks. So yeah, the necessary mid-range deck, I'm not sure if that really exists in Altered because of the flow of information that the game does. And when you play a lot of two drops, you could consider that already an aggro deck. So the margins are really thin to make a proper distinguishment between those.
Yeah, certainly. I think I find it a lot easier to if someone has never played TCGs really, but they have concepts of games in general. I'm like, oh, what do you usually like to do in games? And if they're like, well, I like to, play with a bunch of creatures or whatever, then I'm like, oh, this might be good or this might be good. But yeah, some of the concepts are hard to one and one. In Sigismar versus Kojo, though, we've seen this Sigismar be very aggressive. There was a teamwork training already coming out to secure an advance, and now we see a Jack Frost. I forgot to bring my water to my desk, so I'm gonna run and grab my water and leave
You
you
go
with
and run,
Bandit for a second.
and you can leave all the gossip into me, guys.
Got
Quick,
it.
we only have a minute till he's back. So if you if you want the tea, now's the time. Get get in there. No, but I think it's right. That is so funny. Bravos has mid range written all over it. I think that was not a take I was expecting to see in chat, and you're not necessarily wrong. But it really goes to show how closely it borders to more aggro or tempo decks. Because you are right, right? When you look at the Jin, when you look like the mighty Jins, and when you look at the Haven Bouncers, I think that it really scratches a similar itch in the way that like Sigismar does it as well, where a lot of 2, 3 cost characters that are quite versatile in a great deal of situations. But yeah, I think you're really going for a more chilled down Kojo list. But I think what's not really helping in this situation as well is that mid range is already really vague, even in games like Magic the Gathering, right? Mid range is kind of necessarily just kind of like a bin that ends in, oh, it's just good stuff. I got all the best cards I could find from the set and I slammed them in a deck, and that is the mid range. It outvalues you, right? Because my cards are just do more than your cards, even though that might be a little more expensive. And my early game might be um, might be more volatile. The fact that in the mid game, my plays are so efficient with less cards, I get more done. Is to me an important aspect, but I can really see how that is not necessarily unanimous among all analysts or people that play the game itself. Now, when we see at the investments being made on the expeditions coming through, uh, I think it's quite interesting where we see the Haven Stringar with the extra boost coming through to power through a full water biome. Now, makes sense because you do have to kind of elbow your way through, and you might as well double down on the expedition on which you already have the 2/2/2. But it does mean you will be losing out on a day where you have Buddha, which really hurts Escoja, especially because these cards were not cheap. So that is going to sting a little bit. However, they can recuperate if they manage to leverage their Bravo Signaler in style. Tiny Jin is definitely going to assist in the Solar Mountain biome, but now you are racing a race against the clock where you are battling in a mountain biome. Meanwhile, your opponent is not in the mountains. Is going to be tricky and really feel hamstringed by for playing the Brava Sickler, knowing that the Orders Accountant can just put it to sleep and get even more of an advantage for the Sigismar like that. So here we are then in a situation where coach is going to have to make a decision. Do I have enough cards at my disposal to wait out the Orders Accountant? And it's going to be heavily dependent on what will be played by Sigismar. So the more expensive cards are coming through, the better it is. If there's a 1-drop in hand, it's going to be quite disastrous. Because currently they have just a Jin play set up, which they will commit to. No, they're just going to go for it immediately. Get out the Brava Signaler, and they are committing in a big way. And now I am curious, are they fully committing to this, knowing that if it feels disastrous, right? Yeah, you just get the accountant in the hero expedition covering off both ways. And even with the extra boost from the Haven, you're just going to tie in the Water Expedition, giving up another 1-0 day as Gojo. So this is definitely slowly going in favor of Sigismar. But when you look at the card reserves, got to be careful with this one because the cards available to Sigismar currently are very little.
Yeah, it looks like they definitely really wanted to get the Aerolith created, which is an interesting play. Making sure it moves over there. Maybe they can get another move out of the Signaler, get some more card access. This Sigismar deck is really interesting, though. I think this is one of the most aggressive Sigismar decks I've seen in a while. Not only did they play out two Ortis accountants basically back to back, as I mentioned earlier, they've already played a teamwork training on day one, and they have Jack Frost. Very interested to see what else is in here. Maybe an Anubis return. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it would kind of make sense if they. I mean, I have played a similar idea of a deck, as we do see some more sabotage coming through, which will put up the pressure on the resources, which are already dwindling on Sigismar's side. Where I have played the my iteration of Sigismar was always focused on sleeping the token spawners that were a little more expensive, but you could always get two out, and you'd have the accountants in play for longer, you'd have the legates in play for longer, and kind of maneuver your way to a larger and larger advantage like that. And then when you're on the play, you can always just get Anubis out if they were playing something larger that they managed to tie over to the next day. And that did make use of a lot of accountants and a lot of Sandmans. But you do need a proper play for when you have slept a lot of characters of your opponent, and you know it's going to get very, very hard the next day to go even or even win. A Grand Endeavor was sometimes a good bailout in that direction, but that was not always it. And now Sigismar is looking at a board state in which it is getting trickier to push through. And with 2 mana still available, two. Oh no,
Ouch.
it looks like they did not have it in hand, but they will be keeping up, and they will be spawning yet another little resupply.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
is
Aether
an unfortunate risk and an unfortunate hit on that Aerolith because they had to pay for it. They
Aerolith.
got
There you go.
something that they couldn't play when if they would have held off, they could have created another one and then sacked one for free and went into this next day with three in reserve. But the Sigismar just committing crimes all over the board.
Yeah, definitely a nice little win on that side, especially because you are going 1 for 1 in a day where they are not only waking up with Buddha, but also waking up with the signaler. So that expedition was lost from the start. And the fact that you get to hang on to your hero expedition without missing out on too many cards, right? We have the Jack Frost invested, then a single teamwork training to kind of get the job done on that one. That feels really good when you're Sigismar, and that should have been the day that Kojo would have struck back, fought himself all the way back to an even game state, and then take advantage of the extra cards that they have to his disposal. It's not happening. And now, with Jack Frost coming out, I think that Tiny Jin might not be seeing the light of day this time around.
Yeah, this is kind of the perfect situation for Sigismar here. Remove the Jack Frost as a target from your reserve, then just exhaust the Tiny Jin. Ooh. And there's the hunger they've probably been looking for, but not in reserve. But hey, I mean, it'll be a 3/3/3 or 4/4/4 gigantic. So that doesn't hurt too much. Hopefully, I would have a rabbit or something to follow up with that after.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna have to. Oh,
Interesting. Okay.
that is definitely a play to make. I think it really goes to show that there is not a lot of cheaper costed cards in hand left for our Kojo here. Like a one drop could already mean that you can stall out a little better. Um, but knowing how many Jack Frosts Sigismars plays and the Order Spies, I think you're always very much aware of the fact that it can get sabotaged at a moment's notice. And this is getting really tricky now because you're going to have to contest two biomes that are in water. Meanwhile, a Mighty Jin is your big battering ram here. So if they're not careful, they might be looking at a day where Sigismar might snatch the win already.
Yep. All they need is that third teamwork training here. Or, maybe a Sandman. Characters you control gain one boost.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's a fun
nice.
one. You sacrifice power in the mountain and in the water, but you get a lot of payoff for getting those extra tokens out. Interesting little unique will get the job done, and without any surprises left, you'd have to assume that this is in the bag for Sigismar, who has been keeping check of his limited resources and stretching them further and further, even all the way to a well-timed win before the hungers can come out, before these scary Kojo cards can fully take over the game.
Yep. GG's to Blue Ocean. They're one of the more interesting Sigismar decks that we've seen. One of the earlier parts of the conversation in chat talked about combo decks. I think combo is probably one of the ones that's least present in Altered, depending on what you consider a combo. I have a combo deck. It's for fun, but it does not perform expressly well. It's Eros, Ganesha, like Tasia, Arrow combo. I would think maybe some Bravo stacks you could consider combo, and Soul and
I mean,
Halua definitely feels like combo to me.
the things that come to mind in me are just decks that feel like they are cheesing you, right? With something that might not have been its original intent, so to speak. So we're thinking of Runefolk's Waru, right?
Yeah.
Which can just keep or these lockout decks. They kind of feel like combo decks to me, where they just kind of lock you out of the game. And yeah, no, actually, I will just put the label of abusing a mechanic to it. And most recently, the Lindiva decks, right, which are the most recent iterations of the Anansi combo decks, which managed to leverage the resupply on spellcast into continuous discounts for more spells, which get them more discounts, which for more spells, we get them more discounts. Until eventually they just cycle through their entire deck and have such cheap spells that they can just keep casting small step over and over again until they drag it across the line. Doesn't necessarily feel like an intended mechanic, and one that's really benefits from the online environment in which a lot of this handling and shuffling and going through your deck is done for you. But yeah, they are present, and when they are played to perfection by someone who's very capable, they are very powerful. But they do kind of rely on that element of surprise, so to speak, that your opponent doesn't know what you're doing or just isn't equipped with the answers to address it properly.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I seemed like I was zoning out there for a second. It looks like there are some critical BGA errors. I was like, why is there another player holding up the whole tournament? They say they cannot pass even after refresh. Okay, so I mean, I'm not the TO. Why am I worrying about it? But just old habits die hard. The other question about building a deck, I play
Paul,
90% online, so
Paul is such an
I
empath.
yeah, I play so much online that I build online first, and I'm actually very typically bad at building on paper to where if I am going to OP that week, I'll try to build it the day of and realize either I don't know where a card is or I don't have it physically, and then just show up to weekly OP with a very half-assed deck. So that's my
or
style.
or kind of going past your player's table. Some change. A sandman for the poor, or
Right?
a sandman for the disorganized. No, I feel you here. And just to come back to Elke's comment in chat, like the digital tools that I'm talking about is just the fact that in the BGA environment, your deck is shuffled for you, right? The cards you draw, it all happens automatically. Where in a face-to-face environment, you'd kind of have to go through the motion either really, 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 really quick to the point where it becomes unclear to your opponent what is happening, just to keep up what is happening, right? Because your opponent is also responsible for keeping a clear game state, and well, it's just not very in the nature of people to tell their opponent, "Hey, slow down! You're going too fast. I am not following what you are doing." But it is, they are responsible for anything something goes wrong. So it's kind of that where in the BGA environment, the game is kind of kept in. It's as if there's a judge sitting next to you, right? They cannot do something illegal because hopefully BGA does not allow for that.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, where the online environment favors a combo deck more than in person.
Yeah. There, I think I'm actually. I'm trying to think if we've ever actually witnessed cheating on BGA in like a way that you could
Um,
online. And I think the answer is I've never witnessed it. We've thought that there was a bug or two that people exploited, but when we looked further into it, it wasn't really the case.
there is one exploit I would say that makes use of BGA's tools, so to speak. But that really is with third-party software, where people, where like I think one or two very crafty individuals employed the services of a auto clicker to just lock out the game in a game state where they they click the pass button faster than you do. So if they have a game state in which they can lock out the game where neither one of us moves and we can just keep that chain going, we pass faster than you pass, so we win on time every time. That was addressed quite swiftly, as it quite clearly goes against the spirit of the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta give it to him. It was creative.
For the person in the chat that also ran into the issue where they couldn't pass, were you playing against Zen? Because I will help throw that information towards the developers. Also, I'm wondering if that person that it looked like they were doing it on purpose was just making a joke. 'Cause I think they were also against Zen. So I think we just need to kick the
Oh
Zen players out of the tournament because they're breaking it. But do you want to go to table 21 in the meantime?
man, those Orders players breaking
Yep.
all the fun for everyone else, huh?
Oh boy, I picked a great table.
Oh my! Speaking of breaking the game and combo decks, I think that is exactly what we have going on right here.
Yeah.
Where yeah, every time a card messes with our reserve, we're gonna get an extra robot. Gotta be careful though, because they are running low on time.
Yeah, I think
So
I have
they're
to amend my statement about not being that many combo decks in Altered. I think it's more so it's like not a general thing that you can build very often, but these decks like this definitely exist for like the ones you mentioned. And I do think I kind of just glossed over the fact that Fen is pretty combo-y, if you see it that way.
well, I mean, there's a difference between combos and synergies, right?
Yeah, true.
Like a combo is to me a thing where it kind of breaks the game in what is deemed normal or expectable, such as 30 brass bugs in a single day. I think that kind of goes against what is deemed normal, average in the regular game. So that is kind of where the label for combo switch, like a synergy, changes to combo when it becomes something that kind of can scale infinitely. where it can really get out of hand, or like similarly, the ghoul rank decks that draw like their entirety of their decks, right? With the uniques that draw cards for whenever a character enters, and they'll just have always their entire deck on hand. I think when you're really going into that territory of extremes, you're talking about combo decks.
One thing that you already mentioned here is getting very low on time, though. A lot of clicks in here takes up time. I've tried to kind of pay attention to how that works to see if it's really an issue, and I'm not quite sure it is like an issue. I think it's just the timer
What are you
pauses.
talking about exactly?
So a lot of people will complain like, "Oh, I lost because I have to do so many actions and it takes
Hmm.
up more time, and I lost because of the timer." The timer pauses at very specific moments.
Yeah, for
I
animations.
Yeah, so I think it's less an issue of the timer is faulty and more you're just essentially breaking the game, so you gotta be, prepared for how long
Yeah,
that
and
might take.
that is kind of my other. I don't want to say issue, but maybe I think these combo decks do kind of take advantage of how sportsman-like people in Altered are, where they are very as a hunger might be stabilizing the game. I mean, there will be another draw and put into reserve from Trace, but this might be well, it just need a single character. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Anyway, just to finish my point, in theory, our Basira player Paudo here can just wait 9 minutes and win,
Yeah.
but it's not a very sportsman-like thing to do. But I think when you are being punished for playing very swiftly, which this Basira has they've been playing very quick. They've only been the active player for I think something close to like 7 or 8 minutes. Meanwhile, their opponent has been playing for almost 20 minutes. They are taking advantage of the fact that you will not just wait out your clock. You will just play as usual, and they get to play on your time, pretty much, right?
Yep, there's I think it's been a debate since, BGA has been a thing, and it seems like Pado, how I would say it, is from some perspectives more sportsmanlike and just allowing the traced to get the win. But I agree, and this is something I always try to remind players of, is yeah, if you look at the thinking time, which we can see right here, 19 minutes versus 6 minutes. How I try to explain it to players is, if you are slow playing, we'll call it, you are actively taking time from the other player when you're supposed to share time. And it's the same thing in person. You just usually, hopefully, have a judge to remind you of pace of play. That's also the thing players hate being reminded of the most.
Yeah, especially when you're thinking, right? Because what is slow playing to the other one might just be really going over their options for the other one.
Mm.
And here's the kind of thing, like it's there's no perfect way, right, to fix this, because someone might argue that what Insane was doing here, he was not slow playing. He was making a lot of plays. He was just
Yeah.
making a whole lot of plays. And that is kind of the other side of the coin here. And that is where you get in a pinch. And there are similar talks about tournament structures, right, where everybody agrees that they don't like Swiss, but then, all right, what's an alternative? And then nobody can agree on what is a suitable alternative that everyone agrees on is suitable for their needs and their wishes and their demands. And I think with time management, it's the same. You can employ a hard chess clock, right? Similar to chess, when your time passes and the flag falls, you are done for. You lose instantly. Doesn't matter if you're one move away from checkmate, or if you are horribly and horribly behind. When the flag falls, you lose, sir. Good day. But yeah, that does have some drawbacks, especially in a more environment of BGA where a lot of games are played a little more casual, right? Like we just want to get games in. Um, but the fact that we can't distinguish that between those in a tournament setting, where I think we can hold players to a bit of a higher standard, right? Yeah, that is one of the side effects that we're seeing right now. Luckily, they are few, right? This is not a normal situation we find ourselves in. This really is an outlier.
Yeah. And I think what you explained is what most people would say is the most fair, but it's also the thing that would upset those players that play, the decks that take longer. They want, they're not they want both things, I guess. They want a more specific clock on BGA, but at the same time, if it were once you hit 0, you lose, I think they would also be pretty upset. And I've been clicking around in a bunch of games. It seems like they are ending. I went into like 4 tables and they're already over. So we can chat a little more here unless you find a game that has a good amount of life in it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, because I think we can talk about like a lot of these smaller things that plague not only Altered, but a great deal of games, not only trading card games as well. Um, but I think we can all agree that Swiss is one of the formats that people have the least amount of issues with,
Mhm.
right? Like democracy is not a great system, but at least it's better than all the others. It's kind of how I see it. Like, yeah, there's a lot that I would like to see differently, but this really feels like uh, we can at least all agree on that this is suitable, and a lot of the infrastructure around tournaments is built around this type of tournament that is set in Swiss that does run their time the way they do. So when something better comes available and we all see the light, like sometimes we do see major changes happening. Just look at how TCGs handle mulligans differently over time, right? We come to a agreement that, well, I guess we can handle mulligans in X or Z way. That makes for a more entertaining games without it necessarily benefiting a certain archetype so much that it gets out of hand. So if a better format becomes available, I'm sure it will be taken into consideration. Until then, good old trusty Swiss will do its service just fine.
Yeah, definitely.
All reliable.
A.W.O.L is not rebranding, refocusing is what I want to say. Yeah, Altered Aces kind of took up
I feel
the
like I'm getting fired.
no, you're hired. You're hired.
Oh, yay!
Altered Aces took up the mantle to do a weekly tournament every Monday. Honestly, even though I am in US time zone, I think it's the only one that really needed to be replaced. And Altered Aces did that. If you are a competitor, I would definitely join their Discord. There's an English information section for the tournament and a French one, depending on what you speak. If it's German, I guess ask Pandy Andy to translate it for you.
Let's be real.
Uh,
If you're German, you speak English.
yeah.
Come on.
There's some really cool prizes and things that they're doing, really cool initiatives, and we will be hosting the English broadcast every Monday. We missed week 1 because a lot of us were traveling. It was an
Yeah,
American holiday
Comic
week.
Con. There was PAX.
Yeah.
It was just very busy. But now we're here, and we're happy to be here. And I think the most important thing is that the spirit of A.W.O.L lives on through the AA weeklies, and I think a lot of players and me included, are very thankful that they're, because tournament organizers, they're just doing it for love of the game. And it takes a lot of time and effort to manage well, in this case, 180 player tournament every week, right?
Mhm.
Going up to 250 players. That is no small feat to manage and to help out when things are going wrong on BGA. So I am very glad that someone was passionate enough to step into the shoes left by Simon, left by A.W.O.L, and we can enjoy some weekly altered coverage once again.
Most certainly. And if you are looking for a more US based time, I would say check out the LATAM tournament. It's a little late on the US time on Mondays. And then there is the tournament I run on Tuesdays, which is Ace, not to be confused with Weekly Aces. And that's every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central. So this tournament though, I have a theory that I hope is not correct.
Ruh-roh.
Um So the reason we're still not watching a game is because the only games left are bugged.
Well,
Wha
if you refresh,
Are we in
round
round
3
3?
is drawn, man. Yeah, round
Hey,
3 is
okay.
drawn.
All right. Round 3, let's see. Let's see if I recognize a name we haven't seen. You know what? Let's go to table 8 actually, because that's a spicy matchup, and I want to see if Wesh is still playing that Linda way we've
It's
talked about.
I mean, it's okay. You can just admit that you wanna see Matu in action. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean it's Matu versus Wesh. Oh my gosh, and it's Matu on Moyo. Oh, I sure hope it's not. Uh
Matu's Moyo? No way.
I sure hope it is not Prison Moyo. The theory, okay, so the theory is last week there were only 2 Zen players. It seems like there's at least double this tournament, so I'm really hoping that people are not knowing that this is a bug and abusing it to get a win every round.
Oh my.
So I hope
Well,
it's not
we know the
right.
pass button works for Moyo. But
Yep.
that is not the start you were looking for. In 6 card, they can't find a single day 1 play, and that is how are we feeling about that?
Um, as Moyo, not too terrible, honestly.
You're
But
only giving
no,
up 1
yeah,
1 expedition in tempo.
yep. Knowing that I'm against Wesh though, and this might be that Lindaway combo, feeling a little worse. Um, but we'll have to see what kind of Moyo this is. I hope it's not hostage, but it most likely probably maybe is.
I mean, if it gets too boring, we're just gonna bail and go to another table. Don't worry, guys. But
Yep.
this is so and that is the thing that kind of why this iteration of the spam quick step, a quick step, small quick step, is different. Is because with Ma and Gift of Self, where you get to sacrifice a character for 2 mana and then draw 2 cards, where Anansi in the past was kind of struggling to get all of his uniques in his hand, because that is when the deck really pops off, right? When he has all the uniques on the table. I think it really helps that with the extra draw, you just get to see more of your deck. And when you get to see more of your deck, you're gonna see more of your uniques. And even when they're from reserve, if they help you to get through your entire deck, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, so I think the first day was not too much of a worry, but now that the game has progressed this way, the next 2 days is a little more concerning. I think the only saving grace so far is the fact that Wesh did not also move on the hero side there, or else it would be pretty scary. I think, unfortunately, if I were to call it how it looks now and the way Moyo is playing, they're they're definitely ramping towards a specific thing. Oh, and maybe I looked away at the wrong moment because yeah, there was a Sakuraburu's Fury played. But yeah,
They're
this
just buying more
is
time,
yep,
getting
this is
themselves
it.
more breathing room to get to the mana points where they want to be. Again, on this one, where you know they are losing the minimum, so to speak. And I think the question is valid in chat, where they ask like, "Oh, can we just go over what a hostage deck is exactly?" Asking for a friend. I think it really goes on about where you do not allow your opponent to advance. Where can it be Celebration Day, which says no expeditions can advance, or a multitude of Isitox, which say your opponent's expedition cannot advance, stacked up with Sakurabrus, which say move the expedition zone back, or do it move 2 of them back. those are the cards that we consider hostages because you feel like you are not allowed to leave the game. Where
Yep.
you are just trying to play the game by winning expeditions, but it doesn't matter if you win expeditions because no matter if you win the expedition, you will not advance. And all right, but how does your opponent win then? Very good question. Usually by either small step, which says move your expedition forward one step, or a plethora of small step and grand endeavor, which says at noon move your expedition step one up, and that's a landmark. So you cannot advance at dusk, but they can advance because their deck is built around advancing at moments other than dusk.
Yep. Well said. And some of the people that play this deck would say that the other player is actually the hostage player because the other player should just concede when the setup gets there. I think that's a very evil way of looking at things. And
Yeah, nice victim blaming, guys, in 2025.
yeah,
Shame.
if you play this type of deck, I think you just need to own what you are doing and
Exactly.
realize that you're a villain. Every story has a villain, and that's just you playing Celebration Day right here.
Yeah, yeah, no, great. No, we're having a splendid time. But it is good to go into the machinations of a deck like this, right? Because I think it's not. Here's my thing. I don't feel like they're necessarily a bad thing. That is it is a valid game mechanic, just dialed up to 11, and I feel like we just need some form of interaction with it. And once that comes out, it will be kind of put back into its place because I feel like it has been kept in place by really aggressive decks, like really aggressive iterations of Sigismar. But now that Sigismar has gone over to a more mid-range type play, um, usually, right, where they leverage card draw to their advantage and just making use of the pure power in a Orders deck. So yeah, maybe if we can open the gates a little bit to some more interaction on this front. But besides that, I think this is actually a terrible matchup for a prison deck, right? When you're playing against a deck that can possibly just small step its way to victory.
Yeah, we're staying in this game to see if like this is the one way out of the prison currently. One
Yeah,
thing that's really interesting, I think it would have been cooler, better, funnier if Matu would have slept the Chrysalis because then they would have just had Defender there for longer, which kind of plays into their gameplay. But looks like they're trying to stave off an early advance lead before they can, fully shut it down. I do think the problem with this type of deck currently is there is basically no interaction for the most part. We've we've
exactly.
we've talked about it, a bunch of times, and credit to Runefolk where credit is due. He will discuss like what are certain ways to, play against a hostage deck and what kind of hurts it. I just think that there needs to be at least one or two more so that the playing
Yeah, and
field is even.
those ideas are not really all that obvious, and it's not necessarily a play style. I think you could say it's not a intended play style by Equinox to push it to this limit. Well, I can't read their minds, but I'm gonna assume that this is not what they had in mind when they introduced these kinds of cards. That they would be used to this extent, and this reliably. And there is that critical point where the the hostage deck really feels like, all right, I have everything available to me to now play Celebration Day every single day, or juggle the cards, juggle the Isitox in such a way, or put them asleep, yada yada yada, to make sure you cannot advance, and because you don't play any of the cards that play around that, your options to win are quite limited.
Yep.
And it really feels tricky because it is not a very a visual turning point. Whereas a hunger, very splashy card, feels like a big impact, costs a lot of money, mana, and really makes a grand entrance and pivots the entire day. Where these hostage decks, they are more sneaky, and sometimes you've already lost, but you just don't know it yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep. One of the other good things to point out, if you're watching this and you don't, know how this type of deck operates, uh, the reason that it's able to basically not be countered is if you look at the count on the deck here, you see that Lindaway has 17 cards remaining in their deck, and the Moyo only has 8. So they get to a point where they're just recycling all of the cards they need repeatedly by using a bunch of draw. And once they're able to stall out the game far enough, it's basically over. There is literally nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I think that really goes to show why many other games have a death sentence connected to decking yourself,
Yeah.
because it opens the door to a lot of silly things, and mostly the amount of consistency that you can achieve at a certain point in the game, where TCGs are by definition have a certain amount of randomness to it, right? It really heavily depends on which cards do you draw, and you can't play more than X amount of this card. So by allowing the discard to be reshuffled and put into your library, you open the door to a position where you just have 20 cards in hand, maybe 15 cards in your mana, and the 5 cards that you're constantly cycling, you'll go through in one day. So you'll every turn you will have the exact same cards to your available to you, which can lead to some frustrating game states. Um, and yeah, it kind of circumvents a lot of the fail safes that Altered has to keep the experience from staying true to its intention. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see in the future a amendment to the rules stating that if you deck yourself, you lose, or if you deck yourself more than once, you lose. So as to keep Fen decks from still being playable, focus on recycling, but decks that push it to the absolute extreme lose some of their favor. But we shall see. We shall see. Thus far, I have not been dissatisfied with the balance of the game.
Yeah, I really got to give credit to the game designers. Every time I think, they can't surprise me anymore, they manage to do it another time in a new set. And they do it in ways that are a little different than most TCGs. So I would not be incredibly surprised if there was something that kind of answers this deck in the next set, but maybe it'll take one more. And, when they first introduced things like expedition permanents, we were like, oh, that's so cool. And to this day, one of my favorite interactions is a card getting boosts in reserve. The rules have allowed for that technically since day one, where boosts are removed when a card goes from expedition to reserve, but not the opposite. So when they introduced that mechanic, I was like, damn, that is so smart. It's been there the whole time.
Yeah, and they have shown before that they are not afraid to make changes in the core rules if they deem it
Hmm.
necessary. Look, for instance, when we check for wind conditions, right?
Yep.
When our expeditions meet, they used to be instant. But because the small step felt so, you were so powerless against the small step in the very last day, that was not a fun position to be in. You were just kind of, if a Izmir deck or a Lyra deck came into the position where they were one step away from victory and they were first player, or you were, you didn't have a small step in hand yourself, you were just kind of dead in the water, and there was nothing you could do. So they changed it, so you have a fighting chance. So if they deem that that the answers are not coming up in the next set, and that these kinds of archetypes are becoming so problematic that they are affecting a core pillar of the gameplay experience, because up to now, these decks have not been prevalent in your LGS. These decks have not been popping off at the qualifiers, right? So this is also a very experimental space. You have to keep that in mind. But when they notice this is taking over in a way where it just cannot be answered, I trust that they'll make changes accordingly.
Indeed. And now I think I have to refresh. Let's see. There we go. I saw the gift of self coming out. Ooh. All right. We've been continuing on this game because it is more of a battle than we normally see with this kind of Moyo deck. I think as a guy trying has mentioned, we're kind of waiting. Oh, the double Sakurabu's Fury. That hurts. We're kind of waiting for either Wesh's combo to fully take off, or I guess one of
But
them to give up.
I am gonna say it. This is not Lindive combo. I have not seen. All the uniques are sacrifice focused and card draw focused, not resupply on spellcast. I have not seen a single spell stab. So I think we might just be seeing like a sacrificey, control-y, value-y,
Yeah.
classic Lindive deck. Which, I mean, props to him for getting it in this position. But I think we can safely try and bail on this game and occasionally check back in to see if there have been major evolutions in what we are currently seeing.
Yeah, let me know if you see
I have been
another
keeping an eye on
table.
table 3, which no, I should be clicking the right buttons instead of the wrong button. Let me see if this is still going on. No, this game has already finished. Let me refresh to update the tournament page. Yeah. So we have our traced from previous game playing at table 7. So Insane is facing off against Goopel. We've seen these players before, so I think it's fun to check in on players on their journey. Where Kojo is facing off against the army of brass bugs that we saw at the tail end of our previous game. Currently, there's one spawner in place, and they are at a similar level of expedition steps, and
Ooh.
it is answered, and that is pretty big, especially considering that the resources available currently to trace are limited. But he will have the frozen delivery ready to go in combination with the Ouroboros. And that is well, I don't want to stay stuck in the past, so I'm going to mention this one more time, and then we'll move on. The fact that there's no permanent answer to certain things, right? When people get low on cards, usually when you discard a card, it's gone for the rest of the game, or at least for a good portion of it. But in this state, if if this trade resupplies 2 or 3 more times, then he'll just get access to all of his uniques again, which is another aspect of the more frustrating elements that people have brought up. However, this Kojo running a murdering pace. And if the answers are not here in due time, I mean, the Grems are here for some powerhouses, but the answers have to come quickly, because next day he is looking down the barrel of yet another Buddha appearance.
I feel like I am hallucinating. Why did the aerialist get a boost?
Um, I'm saying that they rushed, right? They played it from reserve. If they rush,
Oh, okay, I see
they
what I
gain a boost
missed.
for each fleeting character you control,
Yeah,
and the aerialist itself is fleeting.
they rushed the Duel of Grit. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, because I came in and I saw the Duel of Grit go off, and then I saw the aerialist gain a boost,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, wait a minute, but
You're fully
the
up to speed now.
yeah, the rush into the Duel of Grit makes sense, and the aerialist itself was the fleeting character. But yeah, this game is in a rather interesting position now that Mowgli was taken care of.
But
And
ooh,
now it's
that is
not
they
as
will be
interesting.
tying. Yeah, they will be tying, and they will be going up and over through the forest, and that is a game. And it goes to show that a good deck that has these sometimes these silly board states where like the stars align and you can really pop off. Uh, they are not necessarily fully dependent on the stars aligning. At their core, a trace deck can still put out a lot of power, and even not getting the all of the ultimate potential out of your uniques, as long as they get the job done, you can be consistently winning your games, and that is exactly what we saw at this table.
I checked in, and the Moyo game is still just being a Moyo game,
I
and
mean, they have advanced like 4 times. So they're back in the position where they are only 2 steps away from winning. But I think what is helping them currently is they get to see a whole lot of their deck as well.
yeah.
Um, but now that we have come to the position where there's so much mana available to our Moyo player, and he has his entire deck in hand, that means every day that he's going to be drawing cards, he can draw a Sakurabri Fury and play it. And then with Moyo's ability, it'll be reshuffled into his deck. It's the only card in his deck, and he will draw the card again. So he can get multiple Furies off in a single day. So you need to be advancing 3 or 4 or 5 times in a single day to make 1 or 2 steps. Meanwhile, the Moyo will just get worse and worse because every time that he does this, he will be manaing every day still, and he has managed his time quite well.
Ooh, small
So it
step.
means that they're yeah, gets a small step in before celebrating days. So it really is a story of climbing up the ladder and slamming down the door shut behind you.
The
It's
other
the first
great.
one. -1 cards in the deck here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love that. The other great thing I have just realized with BGA having issues the past couple days is basically every game tells us it's at 50%, which makes it very hard to find out what games actually have life left in them so we can go spectate them. So I've been trying to find a game, but they all say 50%, and then you go in and the game's basically over. Let's see. Yep.
I mean, props to Wesh for hanging on because this is like it is really frustrating to be so close to having your expeditions meet and then constant. It's Sisyphus, man. It's Sisyphus all over again, and that can be a frustrating state to be in. But he is hanging on like a champ. You gotta respect for that. And well, have you ever seen a game where the cards in hand were totaling more than 30? I sure haven't.
No, not that I have blocked myself and taken note of. Uh 20 though, not too bad. My favorite is that the mana bars are about to just break.
leave leave the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think this game is really the only one that we have to watch, and now everyone else from the tournament is also coming in and witnessing this. So if you were to ask the Moyo player what they do, what you should do at this point, the answer would be just pass and let the Moyo advance and win. But also, it's kind of a hard thing to do. Some people
I
have the
mean, they
pride.
gotta earn
They
the
wanna
win.
fight
You
it
gotta
out.
earn the
Yeah.
win, and that I
Uh,
mean, we're. I think people, especially if you're a competitive person, the chances of you winning might be low, but there is always that 0.1% chance that your opponent will misplay, right? And the the people playing at these tables are true competitors, and I do respect it.
yeah, whenever they like Runefalk and Keelan Guy and them talk about how the other player needs to surrender, I just always go back to the Rorschach gif of you're I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. And I have, a lot of patience, and yeah, I've played a 56-minute game against Akesha, so if that's what you wanna do, we can chill and just hang out here.
Yeah, and also, there's the point of, if you have more than one, if your percentage of winning are higher than 1%, and they always are, because you're playing against a human, who is capable of making mistakes, who is capable of, slipping up. Why not? Why not? If you are that driven to it, go for that 1% play. I applaud you. Yeah, for people just entering, these players do not have decks. They only have cards in hand, and occasionally they'll mana a card so they can play more of the cards in hand, which then they will immediately draw on the next day. It's an impressive board state, you gotta say. Too bad that Celebration Day has been played and no one can advance, and that is just the name of the game. So next day is going to be Groundhog Day, where another small step will be played, followed by another Celebration Day from Mojo, and well, the good news is we are 2 days away from ending it all.
Yep, and, this is the last game, so this is what stands between us and the next round. Although, what is the next round is 4 of oh, it's 7. Yeah, it's 7 this time instead of, 6. You know what we
All
could
right.
do?
I mean, quick little shout, because we the chat is lively in the altered game. DSL Shokobar wants to buy Izmir unique that draws when spawning a token. So guys, if you have one of those, reach out to Shokobar on Board Game Arena. He is willing to reward you handsomely. He has told me personally, uh, endless amount, two big
Hmm,
heavy bags of golden florins to whoever can deliver him a draw when
uh
spawning a toning unique in Izmir. So
Alright, let me go check my, collection here. I do not have very many good uniques whatsoever, but maybe we have something. Also,
oh my god,
though,
Cyber Monday sale with Kohlrabi? Yes.
I am kind of hesitant to give Shokobar anything because Shokobar is another hostage player, so oh, there's the end, okay.
But we can maybe, you know. All right, there we go. Yay! Yay! Applause, guys. As oh yeah, just to rub salt in the wound, we're gonna push our opponent back one spot. No, I this will be fun. If we get in this position again, I'm gonna raffle one of my uniques to someone in chat.
The keep
That'll be
it
fun.
keep it lively, keep it entertaining.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun. That'll be fun because I really have found my groove in what I like to build. So I am very comfortable, passing it on to the next lucky person. As okay, I mean, at this point, Wesh, you're going overtime, mate. It's time to wrap it up. There we go. It will come to an end, and even though they will be progressing 2 steps in a single day, it will not be enough. Matma'u takes it in a what's the opposite of a nail biter? Like a hair growing type of match.
All these hostage players ruining everyone's fun. Yep.
uh,
All
all
right.
right, but it will bring us to the next round, in which, you know who knows what's in the next round. It could be anything. It could even be a hostage deck.
Wait, I am not. Oh, we have a game at 99%. What are we stuck with here? What's going
All
on?
right,
How is there a game that lasted longer?
Theo, kick him.
All right. Well, we'll give you an insight here into this Fen versus Halua game,
Well, I
which
think we'll
we
be fine with a 13, 13, 13 gigantic hunger. However, they are a single twinkle twinkle away from from winning the game, I guess.
yeah, let's see what they're saying in French. La di da, my French isn't that great. The first
I mean,
misplay
Halford,
is frying my brain.
Alfred, you got to type less and play more, man. You're running out of time. Oh, little fire rabbit to come through. Now you gotta stay on your toes here because with 5 mana capable, a fan can just double twinkle twinkle this, and then you might be in a little more difficult situation, right? Now it will be the pass on from here. But Julian wins his match, and we are finally all set to go for round number 4 out of 6.
La-di-da, just waiting for the refresh to when that game actually closes up.
Yeah, we're just slowly going through the pairings, and
Wait, no,
oh,
there's another table. What is
no,
happening?
we're just gonna ignore that one. That one doesn't exist. They are not. They are in the timeout corner.
Ay,
It'll be a
ay,
few
ay.
seconds before we will get an official timeout. You'd have to imagine, right?
No, this game somehow, I don't know what happened, but table 66, they are face to face. I think maybe someone forgot to play or they're taking a lot of time for their last turn. But an Issery versus a Fen here. And you see the spectators shoot up. Uh, as I
As
mentioned
they have found
earlier,
a new victim.
yeah, the percentage complete is kind of bugged right now, so it's also very
You know
hard
what?
for us to tell.
Heck this. I'm gonna take a seat for this one. So no, I did not shrink. I'll bring down the camera so we can make eye contact again. Ooh, Nui. Ooh, force. Oh man, they. I'm not sure what they were cooking. I would have loved to get a full taste of this one, but man, they are cooking up at table 66. This is where the fun's at, dude. Screw tables once through 10. This is where we're at. Dude, next round we are covering the lowest rated table. That's all I'm saying. I think that is where all the fun is happening.
Works for me. And we see another unique come out that is the little mouse from anywhere sabotage and roll a die on a 4+ draw a card. Pretty nice.
Yeah, solid.
Isria is in the danger zone because there's
Danger zone.
also a round time. And if the round time is over, basically the tournament is saying, hey, all the games should be completed by now. What the hell? It might just end very rapidly.
Yeah, and
And
then the player with the most time left will be
yep,
crowned the victor.
yep.
So yeah,
Uh
with that in mind, and once again, I do think it's very honorable that these players are not necessarily leveraging that against each other. Um, but yeah, there is a certain point in the game where you do have to say to yourself, no, time is one of the game's mechanics,
yep.
right? We if I all the cards you get to play, the mana you get to put in, managing your time is just as much part of the game as choosing the right target for removal.
Yep, slow play or taking too long to play or whatever you want to call it, I think is kind of a big issue with any new TCG. I've heard that, Riftbound is kind of having an issue with it currently, and Altered is definitely no exception. Even at Worlds, there was at least, a handful of times where players took a little too long and then were upset on what happened because of it. And so you gotta pay attention to the pace of play, whether it's on BGA or in person. There's always certain specifics you have to follow.
Yeah, and we will keep this in mind because both players are overtime now. Yet we are still playing. So I think it's also up to us and TOs to tweak the buttons so that when there is a ceiling towards the time we can sit in games. This one will be coming to an end, and Fen will be taking it away. But guys, This is week number 2 that they're setting everything up. These are not TOs by nature. Give them some grace, and before you know it, you'll have the exact level of quality that you're used to.
Let's see if I can refresh now and hope BGA does not give me a fit. Hey, we finally have it. We have table 4
And it
and
smells so good.
a very, very 68 is started if you want to go as low as
Hell
68.
yeah. How low can we go? 68 is the answer. Now, Cole, now it is my turn to go up and away for refreshments. So if you can hold down the fort for a minute or two, and I'll be back in the gym.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Perfect timing for me to pose a question to those of you in chat. There was a little talk of, players in Berlin. We saw a guy trying thrown under a bus in Massachusetts or wherever he lives. Where is everyone located at? How are your locals going? What do you want to share with the class today? Thanks for watching, by the way. And yeah, like and subscribe because we'll continue to put out content here on this YouTube. And I will be working on not rebranding, as I've said, but kind of just tweaking it a little so it's a little more representative of where the channel will be going forward. And I also have a video that I need to edit that I finished filming before PAX and have not gotten 50% done editing. So that'll be fun. Maryland, but at least you got that there was an M. Well, maybe I was trying not to specifically dox you, but now you've done it to yourself. So yeah, I like doing this. I like the casting and the content thing. If you've only heard me yap about Altered, I've actually been doing stuff for a long time. I just do too much all over the place in too many different zones, but maybe you'll run into me in one of those other places one day and be like, "What the hell?" And Bandit's back,
Thank
who also does a lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
definitely. Yeah, thanks for keep doing this, Cole. I was only gone for 2 minutes, guys. What the hell? So dramatic.
Yeah, I can't believe you abandoned them already.
It's in the name, man. A
That
a
was a
bandit,
mistake.
a
A
bandit.
bandit. uh,
Hey, jokes. Wait,
s-
table number
s-
66, right?
I think
68?
68.
68.
Yes.
Let me jump right in.
We also did see an error, which is an error that I would most likely do as well. Restocking station says that target character loses fleeting. Bug out bag is not a character, so unfortunately, there was a wasted counter on that restocking station. Also, we have Arok versus Isri, which is great.
You know what I absolutely love about Restocking Station, and some people that have watched more than a few times will know that I love Subhash. I've been playing it so much since the first set, and every set I keep trying to make it work. And um, I always am giggling inside when I am facing off against a festival deck. Restocking Station is such a nasty card against a festival deck by being able to take the fleeting away of any character. It's not limited to your own characters. So taking away fleeting from their one fleeting character, oh, it gives me such immense joy. Uh, it's hard to put a finger on it, but it's one of those things where, especially when the card just came out and Rin Festival was getting really popular, people kind of looked that interaction over, or were surprised to see it come out the very first time. I think by now it is common knowledge, but that month where people were like, "Wait," where they are already typing GG in chat, right? Because they know you only have hook to deal with it or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, that gives me such immense joy. If I would play 10 games of Subhash and one of them would win against the Rin Festival deck, and I'd like get hostage the other 9, I'd still call that a good day. That is how much joy that gives me.
Yeah, there is something to be said about ruining a festival setup by not getting rid of festival, but just ruining the cards they need lined up to satisfy the
It
festival
is great because
conditions.
it's not removal. It's like, oh, here, take this gift. I grant you. You may play it again tomorrow. Well, isn't that nice?
Yep, I'm helping.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. I love it. I love it so much. Now, I do love seeing the creativity coming through. Parliament of Ashes, getting some draw in, some more protection for your cards when you are playing Arak. And currently, you're pretty happy, right? When you're playing Arak, you're quite wary of burning through your cards really quickly,
Mm.
trying to rush to get those counters on them. So I love to see an Arak play in a more conservative manner, where we are managing our hands fairly well. Of course, Parliament of Ashes is really helping with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are a single day away from seeing Aurok pop off and to spin the wheel of mythicality.
Hey, a GMM fan. I love it. I do actually really like Parliament of Ashes in Arak. I am
Oh, even in Fen, I love that. Give me that.
I'm an avid Araker myself, eh,
You're,
and
you've been rocking out for a while.
yeah, one of the stipulations. Okay, this kind of breaks the stipulation, but I guess it's fine. One of the stipulations that Arak has is it does not activate hand abilities for the performance. So if
Correct.
a card has only a hand ability, it is most often something you want to avoid. And most spells are not really things you want to put in Arak, which I know goes counter to the whole mind apotheosis, blah blah blah. But that's old news. That's just if you want to splash out. All of that to say, Parliament of Ashes is a from anywhere trigger that draws a card. So this is not a
Yum
dud hit
yum.
from the performance, so I love it.
Yeah, no, it's really consistent and just getting more cards in hand in Lyra, which is so capable of burning through those cards really quickly if they want to. It's just such a joy. And that is the thing I love about Altered Man. It is such a in-depth game about hand management. We see it to a certain extent in other games like Riftbound, where it's a bit more like managing the ebb and flow, building up for a day, unleashing in a day. But in Altered, it really feels delicate, where you can one moment you're like fire everything, and then at the end of the day, it all goes to reserve and you're like, no, no, stay with me, guys. I want to play you again. And the tides can shift in the blink of an eye like that, and that is a certain beauty that not a lot of other games manage to capture in that same regard.
Yep. It is very uncommon to where you are looking at the same card for 80% of the game and wondering how the hell it's going to go away or get rid of it. Most of the time, they naturally just do that themselves. Of course, sleep, removing fleeting anchor, all that. But yeah, there's definitely been a time or two playing Magic, especially Commander, where there's a very specific card someone at the table has that just lasts the entire game and just sits there. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Which really kind of
wrecks it.
goes against the spirit of a singleton format, where it is kind of all about saying goodbye to the familiar faces and embracing the, well, not the randomness, but the higher variance in the style of play that you get. So, and yeah, it goes against the spirit. That's quite of a big sweeping statement, but man, that is what my opinions are for.
What we did kind of talk about how you've been a little busy as of late, but what are you looking to play in the Skybound meta? What's been exciting to you?
Oh man, I just can't get enough of Subhash, man. It is
Mm.
so satisfying to. It is like your old beaten up Corolla that should have fallen to the wayside ages ago. But every time it gets to its destination, I am jumping up and down and cheering for it, and I'm kissing it. It's been so much fun with the shenanigans with Frankenstein and all the plethora of new landmarks that you get to play with is a lot of fun. And when I have to play a tournament, I just kind of found this sweet spot of like I talked about it before, like a more sleepy Sigismar, where you're leveraging hypothermia to sleep more valuable uniques on my site that usually either um, can trigger multiple times, be it an at noon effect or be it a whenever a character enters effect. And that is a lot of fun. I've been kind of dipping out of the tournament circles as much, just as the life goes on, and yeah, I didn't have the time to invest the hours necessary to be making top 16, top eight finishes again and again. But I've just been really enjoying playing sealed, drafting with my friends. Like the limited format in Altered is such a joy because it's such a radically different experience from playing it sealed because you get to mishmash all these cards together from different factions and exploit a whole new set of ridiculous rules interactions.
Yeah, I always want to set up more drafts or sealed, either one. I'll take either, and just time and effort. I need to have one again soon, though.
Getting players at the same time around the table.
Yep, yep. This Arok though is doing pretty nice. If you missed it there, the performance actually hit the koi. And then we see this Lyra Cloth Dancer come out, which has a from anywhere. It gives a character fleeting. And from hand, you may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, I gain one boost for each card in your reserve. So, yeah, Blinded
Banger.
Guardian did say, love to see outsider heroes. It's also nice to see an Arak in this day and age and what might be new inclusions like the Koi and the Parliament of Ashes.
Yeah,
However,
and yeah.
anybody's game
Oh,
still.
yeah, it's all to play for, and I like seeing Aura because they did get some pretty good results earlier on in the set, where they were really leveraging the whenever a character with a zero characteristic enters resupply, where you kind of almost get to play this storm-like level of Auroch, where you get to see so many cards, and you don't mind that you're playing them from reserve because you're Auroch, and the card advantage you're usually missing out on is caught up a bit by getting Auroch and Kibble every turn or every other turn. It's very interesting to see, and when you're playing against it, I can get arrogant in my matches. Sometimes when you see her, you see Auroch, you think, ah, nice, easy dub, easy win, and then you get absolutely pummeled by this lightning fast Auroch deck, and you got a good game, and you leave again. It's like, what happened? How how did Auroch aggro absolutely wipe me off the table? I was very surprised to see it.
Yeah, it's a surprising performance through and through. But it's uh random question conversation as X marks the spot goes off here, which is great, but also an semi illegal card in Arok, in my opinion. But this person's making it work. Is your BGA name common knowledge? The stream can't see it, but I can see it.
I don't think it is, but it is my pride and joy in life
Yeah.
because
How
I've
often do people point out the incorrect grammar?
I mean it's incorrect in three ways. It is I love it so much. So for those not in the know, I do rock the username gooder than you, where then is spelled with an E and you is spelled with just a capital U. I think I brought it to life. I think 8 years ago, 9 years ago, when I was looking for something quirky and witty in my usernames, as I was getting uh, bored of my current username that I was rocking in League back then. And I came on this and I was like, oh, it's wrong in all the best ways. And to add on it, my brother is a English major, who who has been studying English like his entire life, worked for the university, and every time we play together, it's like nails on the chalkboard for him. After I think 6 years, he managed to see the joyous side of it. But yeah, no, it brings me endless amount of joy. And I think the absolute highlight is when I think I think one of the plays I made got clipped and sent into like a highlight reel place somewhere where some pro league player reacted to it. And the first thing they said was like, "Oh man, this guy's gooder than you." I was like, "Oh, mwah, 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 mwah." I was licking up all my fingers. What a joy!
Wonderful. I once titled a video "The Most Funnest Deck in Altered," and Reddit did not enjoy that. They kept trying to correct the grammar, and I was like, "No, it's the most funnest deck in
Yeah, the
Altered."
most funnest deck. Yeah, that is what it is. Maybe they're not familiar with your style of fun, but your style is the most funnest.
Yep, the most
Mostest
funnest
funnest. The mostest funnest sometimes even.
with
When you're having a really stellar day.
with that game. The Arok did take it by one single stat there, which means now we have to dive through and look for another table. Uh,
I'm gonna let you pick this one.
yeah. So mentioning again, that there is a weird kind of bug. Hopefully, I click on one that has life.
All
Uh,
right, do you want to look at the top or somewhere in the middle of the pack? And then I'll look with you and see if I can find a fun matchup for us.
I am around the 30s currently.
Oh, you look real good for your 30s, I'll be real.
Well, it is. I am in age in my 30s too. So, table 31 has life. So I
31 coming
will
your way.
stick there. This is Caleb of French caster fame playing Goreng against DSL Moose playing Sierra. So another interesting matchup. The game
And we
does
have a
have
hive.
less life than when I first clicked on it because Goreng did just advance, but there is a hive, and
Yeah,
that's scary.
that is scary. However, when you're looking down the barrel of a Messic Tat and a Ordis carrier, and not to speak of the 10 cards in hand on Goreng's side, you might be sweating just that tiny little bit. However, you will be starting off uh, at least an okay shape-ish against the Messic Tat Ordis carrier combo here. But yeah, with the cards to your disposal, you're really relying on getting another sacrifice trigger on that brass bug dropship. Until then, ooh, Liza Withdrawal is gonna hurt real bad. Getting rid of that hive and a 3 mana investment, though usually quite expensive. When you're sitting on 11 mana, I don't think you blink twice at that.
Yeah, that is a big ol' hive to get rid of for just 3 mana and 1 card, and then having the remainder, not having your boosted tokens, have defender. Interesting, though, double brass bug dropship here. I'm wondering if there's a way to get both of these sacrificed this turn, but it is a lot less influential now that there's no hive.
Yeah, and even at that point, right? Because it looks like Goreng might be threatening the win for the day. So a sacrifice trigger at dusk is not going to cut it. So they are ramping up the pressure with these moonlight jellyfish, buffing up the brass bugs beyond their usual strength. However, 6 mana and 7 cards in Gulrang's hands can be quite deadly, especially when one of those 7 cards is a teamwork training, taking care of 6 power on the board.
Ooh, the pass. Yeah, this looks like a pretty easy win for Gulrang here. Both of those cards in reserve are a free recruit, and one of them ties up the companion. And let's see here, this alchemist draw 2 cards from hand and creating a bunch of tokens. Yeah, that's gonna do it.
Yeah, that's gonna wrap that one up. and we are once again without a home, and we are on the lookout. Let's see if we can get this. Ooh, okay. I think we might have a table 40 as we're having a traced mirror face off. Yes, on table 40.
All right, let me get us in there. Ooh, all right. Traced face to face against another traced face to face. I love mirror matches in the way that just seeing what little differences make the difference
Yeah,
between both sides. See a Vike here on Amethyst Rock's side, which is not super common in Traced. And then the Armor Jammer stocks have been definitely way up over the last couple months in Traced.
yeah. I think it is just nice to have on demand sabotage triggers, especially when well you are facing off against more and more decks that are overloading their reserves with like the resupply unique. So it's nice to have a scalpel at the ready to take out the cards that are deemed thus far problematic that they require that priority. And Race just has the room for it, right? Because usually it's quite tricky to have your landmarks overflow. But Trace is already running the havens and usually already kind of doesn't mind running the restocking stations. So I do like it, this adaptation and the way they're going for it. And that is not something you see every day. Athena unique. Walk us through it, Cole.
All right. This one being in the reserve where you usually want to have Athena's from reserve if you control two or more landmarks, I lose fleeting. Ooh, and then the second part is what hurts here. You may send to reserve target character with hand cost 3 or less. Before this came down, I was thinking it's scary for Amethyst Rock because of this Aerolith Reef. There, I think, is a high chance this goes to Arena, but now it's a little less scary getting rid of the Amelia from that Athena, and then Athena and Frankenstein
Yeah,
cannot be targeted.
it's very tricky right here because I feel like the only way out here would be like a hooked to deal with the Frankenstein and then capitalize on the open expedition to force it into arena. But a 4 for 4 and at least having to surpass it's not enough. Yeah, well, this is the answer that you were then kind of looking for, but yeah, it's not enough, right? Because you have no more mana left, even if you do get rid of the Frankenstein here.
Yep, you are able to block on one side, but not get rid of the Frankenstein on the other, which unfortunately means that Amethyst Rock will win here on the companion side.
And that man, mirrors are just so entertaining, especially when they are capable of having like answering each other. You know, when you see two aggro decks against each other, it's kind of like a race to the bottom, and that is exciting in its own way. But when it's really that back and forth, and it's really about managing the resources and finding the answers and prioritizing certain expeditions over others, that is where I think all the more subtle elements of Alter that I tend to enjoy so much really come to the forefront. What a joy to watch the mirror match.
Indeed, indeed. I am wading through the remaining tables again here. Let's see. They all say 50%, which makes it tons of fun. I'll only mention it one more time.
I
Uh,
think you might be witnessing the final throws of table 2, where
table 2.
Insane is still working on a proper win streak and is aiming for a little more, but is facing a hunger, which has gotten rid of a very problematic board state, meaning that he is left to find the answers for the arena, but the very next day he will be facing potentially a hunger from reserve.
Yeah, there I mean, hopefully there's enough. Oh man, the tiny gin makes it a lot harder here. Oof.
I mean, this is going to help, right? But take into account next day the hunger. Every
Yeah.
time a card goes to discard, even from the Ouroboros, like
Mhm.
the extra card that you get to see, that gives a counter. Now, right now, not that big a deal. However, when it's fleeting in a bit and it's gigantic, that should worry you a whole lot more. So not only is he looking for a body to surpass the the two power in the mountains, but also for a sabotage trigger on the very next day to deal with this hunger. Now his advantage is that he will be going first tomorrow. But man, there are a very limited amount of combination of cards that he has to see to get him even in reach of a win. You know, not even of winning, but just to stay in the game in general.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is the hunt for, 3
Yeah, and
mountain,
you can't choose
basically.
Mowgli here. You
Uh,
cannot choose Mowgli here unless you have another frozen delivery in hand or something to go up and over. But you're gonna have to pass on your Mowgli here just to find another card to yeah, to keep Ghibli in that will resupply again, so you can spin the wheel once more.
this hunger is just getting more and more fed here. That is wonderful. Oh, okay. Let's see.
All right, this will do.
Okay.
The Salvager is actually a great bailout here because it does match up the power in the mountains currently, whilst also giving another resupply trigger. So this is exactly what you're looking for, and all for 1 mana.
Yeah. And once again, talking about the clock and things here, you do see that Insane had to go through a lot of different cards and clicks and things. If you pay close attention to the timer, it really wasn't taking too much time when
I will say I think he is taking quite a while. I mean, this decision is really obvious, right? One,
yeah.
the Aerolith Reef is means the game is over, and Gion means you get another try. And the fact that this is taking 10 seconds,
Mhm.
as he will be passing on the Gion actually. So I guess I'll have to eat my words on that one. Um, but this does mean he will be running out of mana. I am not sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I am confusing it with the one that resupplies.
Yeah. So, yeah, the actual decisions are what's taking the time. The clock itself, when you're like doing the clicks, doesn't really take that much
Exactly. It
time.
really highlights that at least in this case, in this case, what we've seen from Insane so far is that it's not the animations, it's not the cards going through reserve. It is him just taking the time to think about every
Mhm.
decision, make to sure to weigh his options, of which he has a lot. Right? Do not get me wrong. This man has a whole lot of decisions to take into account, especially when you have to keep up with what is still in your deck, right? It's very important to know what is still left in your deck, what you can possibly see. So you'll see him clicking through his discard, through his mana to check, all right, how many more do I have available to me? What are the odds of me hitting my 2, 3, 4, 5 outer? So yeah, there's a lot to go through. And the more he will pilot this deck, right, he's not unfamiliar to Traced. As Insane before played like was an avid what's it called? The 1 mana spell that makes a bug that they banned.
Oh, the bug fix.
Bug fix. There you go. He was an avid bug fix player, so he is quite familiar. But this iteration of Trace can be quite different. So and this is kind of like the ramp up time where people are getting familiar with their decks. But yeah, it is managing to be swift on those types of decks is really something that is mastered and achieved through just putting in endless amounts of hours and knowing your deck through and through and through.
Here we go again. the
Here we go again. The
I
hunt is the same, but our prey is very, very different, right?
yeah.
Because now our uniques are not an instant bailout, and I'm not sure if he has it to his at his disposal. But I feel like you really need an answer for the hunger, because if you are not answering that, it really nullifies the entire strategy that you do have. Because sure, for every time that you get a resupply trigger, I'm just going to call it, you'll get a 2/2, but it'll also get a counter on a gigantic creature, which equals out the power. So that is not a race you're going to win.
The one thing that we can see on the board that kind of answers the hunger is the restocking station.
Yeah.
One of your favorite little interactions that you mentioned earlier is possible to remove the fleeting from the hunger, but the clock is getting scarier, and yeah, like you said, it would be better if you could just sabotage the hunger away.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, it might be in a pinch. It at least means you're playing a winning war, right? Because for every brass bug you make, you at least go up one power instead of the zero you'd otherwise have. So it is definitely an out, but will it be enough?
Yeah, or Arag. Wait, I've always said this person's name is Aragorn just because the brain
Yeah.
sees what the brain wants. It's Aragorn, but it's Aragorn, right?
No, is it not Aragom with a M from Michael?
No, it's RN.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. If you
Wait,
select
no,
it, it'll pop up.
that is how you spell Aragorn. Wow, my brain just misfired. Anyways,
That's
you,
okay.
you know that
As
thing
long as
where
you
yeah, you see a word and you're like, that can't be right, but then you look at it and you're like, wait, that is right.
don't misspell Elendil, we'll be fine.
Exactly. Oh boy. First day back. That's we can blame it on that.
Nah, we're still getting. I mean, it's a live show. Come on, cut yourself some slack.
All right, here it is. The hunger that is fleeting.
Yeah, we're off to the races, and while this is unfolding in front of us, right? I can just kind of paint you a little picture. If the hunger is unanswered, we'll be off to a race where Trace is looking to resupply as much as he can, knowing that every time he does, he will be going up one might. But that's quite a ways to go still, because he is very dependent on getting that restocking station out, and I think it's quite daring. Um, we'll see if I think it's quite clear that there's no sabotage available to Boja and Kuda, because otherwise they would have immediately gotten rid of the restocking station. It will be played immediately to get
Yeah.
rid, or at least to be brought into safety. A little safer in the landmark zone than it is in the reserve against a Bravos play.
I unfortunately think that Insane just not have the time to get the stats needed clockwise. Now over 3 minutes negative with only a minute 20 left on genetics clock. It's gonna be very, very hard to overcome, and they're gonna have to
Yeah,
work quickly.
and I wouldn't shame Genetic for just rewarding himself for his
Yeah.
timely play. Uh, yeah, it might feel a bit unsportsmanlike or shameful, but no, that he's just playing with all of the rules given to him, just the same way that that Traced is. Yeah, as a
Tic Tac. Also, a guy trying says no slack for me. True, because I'm always wearing jeans. Hey.
hey, feast
Uh,
your eyes, ladies.
yeah, on my wonderful jeaned knee.
Have you named your jeans?
I don't. Do you normally name jeans?
No, but I do every time. I mean, I don't really wear jeans because they're I don't like them.
Yeah.
But if I were, I would have to actively refrain from calling them Billy every single time.
Yeah, that's the first name that went into my head as well,
Yep,
unfortunately.
yep.
Uh,
I mean,
I wear jeans and shoes often because I like pain and suffering. So
sometimes that is just the way it goes. Some people like to live a happy life, and some people hurt themselves. However, there is like this sub branch of genes that after, I mean, when you wash them and you put them on, it's sad, but then like after a day, they get like broken in, and it's like wearing trainers or like jogger. Like they I don't know, when you yeah, kind of hard to describe, but they really have that level of comfort to it, which I really enjoy. So not all it's not all bad in the gene camp. And here we go. Genetic leveraging his time advantage into the victory. And that is, I think that is just the way to do it, man. That is a part of the tool set handed to you, and he played it like a champ. Well done, Genetic.
Yep. Did play a Pathfinder there right at the end to be like, okay, I think we're about good now. And even if didn't take that much more time, I think it still would have been a really hard battle for Insane because you have to remove the fleeting from hunger. I guess at that point you could have, if you were just trying to win quickly, remove fleeting from hunger and then probably ended your turn. I didn't really look at how much other mana was left, but it would have been risky. So all that to say, you would have needed more time to put out brass bugs, and it would have been close either way. But now we're into round 5. How you doing over there, Bandit? What you feeling?
What am I feeling? I think we should probably check on the middle of the pack because we haven't really checked in on there a whole lot. Um, I'm just gonna see if there's something fun. If there is something that makes me go, hmm, you know, are you in a mood for something that makes you go, hmm?
Always.
Always. All right. Let me be on the lookout. In the meantime, you've said you've been quite busy and things that are not altered. What you been busy with, buddy?
Yeah. So I'm always playing at least 3 or more turn-based games.
Paul is such a
Uh
player.
yep. Avid player. So I do have that, but I just got off of PAX Unplugged where I was judging for Marvel Champions and Arkham
Judging
Horror.
people's genes. Oh,
Yep, that too. And then, the holiday week, my partner had the whole week off. So it's like, do I want to sit in my office and do a bunch of setup and editing and whatever else? Or do I want to hang out and watch movies on the couch with my partner? So that was a thing. And yeah,
could be a lot worse. Now I have, in the meantime, sorry to interrupt, table 23, where Lindiwe is facing off against Gojo, and
wonderful.
I'm seeing Baba Zizba, so I am assuming that this might just be Lindiwe staying true to her sacrificial ways.
Very nice setup already here. Did allow Kojo a double move. Ooh, but that Tooth Fairy to get rid of the Haven Serengar is very
It's gonna be
nice.
pivotal. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be really important to keep a strong vice-like grip on the resources available to the Kojo, and by cutting off these extra sources of cards that a Kojo has access to, can really pinch a Kojo off. However, this needs to be a semi-constant stream of it, because otherwise it might be going just the other way, where Kojo will, he is ahead currently, and with a single little extra step, he might just snatch away the victory. We're not there just yet, but that is something you got to keep your eye on. Leaning on somebody's resources is not a one-time thing. You're gonna have to do it relatively continuously.
What perfect resupply from the Parliament of Ashes to help Kojo with that. The Leviathan spotter, which we talked a little bit about at the start of the stream. But
Yeah,
I'm still liking the setup here for Lindway as far as setups for her go.
it's not bad. But we're having another Buddha day,
Mm.
and we can play our Leviathan spotter from reserve. right? Meanwhile, we are in a solo forest biome, so we're gonna make full use of the three power in forest. So we're very happy with that. And even better is we can potentially even just rush into it, so that there is no sabotage. Oh no, Tengu on number one does not give any rush abilities. That is my rust showing its face.
But it does say calling the Tengu means submitting to anger and vanity. No, quoted by Basira. So a lot of anger and vanity here in these Bravos decks.
That's, I mean, that's what they call me in high school, man. Anger, Mr. Anger and Vanity.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool nickname. Much cooler than what mine was. So,
Oh, please share.
I can't.
Oh, just before, but just before you do so, anything you say on stream can and will be used against you.
Yep, yep. I plead the fifth. No, it's
uh,
just I actually
it's okay.
for a
Please don't
long
trauma dump if
time.
you don't want to.
No, 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 no. It's not like that. We used to just all call each other by our gamer tags for a long time because
Oh, and you're 30, so this could go anywhere real quick, guys. Get
nah,
ready to cancel call if this goes the wrong way.
I've always been on the level. So people my one of my first gamer tags was Cross Dread. So very cool edgy name to be called in junior high.
Wait, you were called cross dress?
Cross Dread.
Re-
Dread, yeah,
Cross dread. All right,
Cross
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dread. Yep. And
Hmm.
had a good friend named Tempest. But
Valid,
his
valid, valid
had
IGN.
a 3 instead of the second E, so sometimes we would call him Temp 3 Street.
Yeah, yeah, valid once again.
Yep, yep, so good times.
That is where man, old school IGNs were so unhinged. I love the face of my partner when he has to give his email address to like an like a help desk server or something. When you pass that point of no return where you accidentally you got your first email address, without your parents, and you got something funny and wacky when you were 8, and then 10 years later it's connected to your digital ID, it's connected to your bank account, and there's no way back, and you will always be like something silly as a XX underscore 420 no scoper underscore XX at Hotmail or something.
Yep, yep, definitely, something that, I have also, done a time or 2, so
Yeah, gone through therapy on. Yeah, nice. It's like, ah, how much could it be to change everything? And you look at it like, oh my god, that would cost me like a week of sending letters back and forth to the. Yeah, it's a cross we all have to bear for the sins of our younger selves, huh?
true, and it's always the email that you monitor the most, so it's the hardest to get rid of.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's a little ball of yarn you don't want to untangle. Now, to get us back in, I think a very interesting application of the Grems coming through, getting rid of the Babas Isba. And well, even though currently we have single sacrifice character open, but it's only from hand. So we might be in a bit of a pinch as Lindiva, as that also bites the dust. And we are slowly going all in on just a single little expedition, unless we can. Well, we're not going to overpower anything against the Tengu, and
I
this at
like
least will
the
restock
gypsy
our
stuff.
hand a bit.
Yeah, the jellyfish was also fleeting, so it's gonna draw an extra card. The moth lantern was there, so it's gonna put a lantern. Unfortunately, not blocking yet, but I mean, all things considered, the Baba's Isba being gone, not a terrible turn for Lindy. Would be lovely to see if there's some kind of follow up here, like a studious. younger version of himself right there. Look at that. I love it. Wonderful.
Yeah, and man, as we are all sharing our youth troubles in chat, a guy trying says the following: "My first gamer tag was Money King, and everyone always read it as Monkey King.
Yep, that's
My
what I did
guy,
when I read it.
my guy fought the good fight and still ended up being problematic.
Ugh.
Life's not fair." For a while, each time I figured out a new gamer tag, I did create a new email. Man, I couldn't live that life, man. That is like getting a burner phone every single time. That is a red flag. I'm sorry, Alcus. I've been on your side the entirety of the evening, but that's a red flag, my guy.
uh,
Though Dragon Blade 96 is really innocent, and I love that. That
yeah,
is
that is great. That
that sounds like it came straight out of Beyblade or something. I love that.
that reminds me, while I was at PAX, after shift, I went to a mega game that my friends were hosting. It's
Mm.
where you play basically 2 different or the same TTRPGs across, like, multiple tables, and everyone's in the same story, but their own parties, yada, yada, and, we were playing VR testers in this new VR game, and we all made
Mm.
up very, very typical, old school gamer tags, and, I think mine was Shadow King 700, so,
Oh, I didn't know I was streaming with royalty.
yeah, the 700th, of course.
I mean, more than one. So when you address yourself in the royal we, are you just addressing yourself or all your 699 brothers and sisters as well? Well, only brothers, I guess, because they're all kings.
Yep, both at the same time, always. So this play of Halua, the Raging Leviathan, is very interesting. I think Lindy had to take a little bit of time to think about what to put out based on that. If you don't know, this card at dusk gives every character fleeting on both sides. Basically no matter what, because it gets around tough because it's not technically
It
targeting
doesn't
a
target it. It's
specific.
just everything.
Yeah, so and you see there they pass, which is interesting, but also they had no combo with this Ysmir Stargazer, so it makes sense, but very good
It
play
gives
for
some
Kojo.
Yeah, it gives some respite to Lindiwe to stock up again, but the same is true for Koja because he only invested a single card. And that is the power of these higher costed cards when you can utilize them to this extent where they do deliver you this 2-0 day, pulling you fully back into the game, past your opponent, zoom in swiftly by them, and taking the advantage whilst also giving you, let's say, maybe an extra card or two, because otherwise, to fill 8 mana or 7 mana, you'd play 2 or 3 cards, and then suddenly it becomes a 7 mana creature that gives you 2 steps and lets you draw 2 cards, and that is an absolutely bonkers proposition.
Bonkers, says you. Ooh, the next Moth Lantern. All right, all right. This is weighing up for a big turn here for Lindy.
Yeah, and it has to be, and it's very clear with the double moth lanterns. This can spiral out of control so quickly. However, they
Yeah.
cannot threaten the win yet. So, they are investing, but you should not get out of control on this side because after this day, there will only be one Moth Lantern in reserve, barring the another from appearing. So to repeat this flash in a pan, they do need a lot of factors to come into play once again. However, if they can rid themselves of the Stargazer and draw yet another card, that will be very beneficial to keep this Lindivis choo-choo train chugging along.
This is a very interesting play from the Kojo. Um, I would assume they don't have a one mana play if they play. Yep. Okay, they pass. Very unfortunate to see a Haven Bouncer come out and not be able to discard this jellyfish. Also, Justin Flores 618. I hate to tell you, but you cannot add anything to your pledge manager on Seeds of Unity. Just a heads up before you get disappointed. It's only to confirm shipping information and confirm your address and etc. So,
Rip and pepperoni.
but the double move from Lindy. This game has been a good ping pong back and forth.
It sure has been. And I think the benefit from Kojo on this day is quite minimal, right? It's not like he got to stock up on a whole lot of cards. Meanwhile, Lindiva kind of pulled the advantage back her way and now is absolutely rolling in it.
Could say rolling in the deep, possibly.
You could, but you shouldn't.
uh, yeah, as they set up the next day here, the original intended pledge manager for the next set was incorporated as part of the whole campaign, so that they could do the stretch goals and things like that, which they originally didn't plan. So the pledge manager now is only for updating address and stuff. Also, I don't plug very often, but if you don't like to read news and like to hear it, do have a podcast called Altered Corner where we usually, most of the time, on time, go over and give a heads up on stuff like that.
Ooh, oh, that's you. Oh,
That
that's so
is me.
fun. I usually get into that on like audio only, and I'm like, oh, it's a familiar voice. I just never put two and two together.
Yeah, yep. I leave all the plugging and shilling to Blue when he's on here. Uh, but otherwise, I'm
Here,
just
it's part of
bantering.
the game, man. I don't take pride. I don't take much enjoyment out of it either. Like it really, but it's it is it's just how you get the word out, right?
Mhm.
How else are people supposed to know? And when you're playing in there, that is just the way it goes. Now, this Lindiva is absolutely overpowering Kojo in the companion expedition. Leviathan Spotter and Buddha are no match for an absolute swarm of mana moths and a nurse to take care of them. They will be meeting their expeditions, and that will be, I'm going to say, an upset victory.
Yeah, yeah, no, very just classic, typical Lindaway against Kojo. If you put any stock into Elo as well, the Lindaway was much lower on the Elo totem pole. So I think it's very fair to say an upset.
Oh, Cole, halt. You got to plug. You got to plug. Where can people find Altered Corner? The people have to know.
Yeah, I will post the website because hopefully the website has more benefits than just the podcast. I will admit I'm a little behind, but I need to, with the new calendar system that I implemented, add all the
What,
digital
the new calendar
tournaments.
system? Did your old Mayan calendar run out? Or
Yeah, I
we out here reinventing the calendar.
yeah, I converted I converted the events tab to a new widget.
Mm.
So if you go to events on the website alteredcorner.com, you'll see currently all of the Texas local events, but I usually also put the consistent online tournaments on there as well, and they'll have like their own specific tag. I used to do it a lot, but now that I switched over to a new system and keep forgetting to update the calendar, I haven't put all the tournaments
It's
in.
how it goes. You
But
know what else is going? Table 38 is going, where Sierra is facing off against Fen. And as we are getting strapped for resources, the mechanical trainings are slowly taking over, but the value is slightly mitigated as the only arrow triggers they currently have at their disposal is a sabotage and a Keylon counter gain for restocking station. So with plenty of mana bars at their disposal, you're really kind of crossing your fingers there's not a secret hive looking to strike fear into the hearts of plenty of Fen players.
Yeah. The Fen is also splitting here, so essentially going for the win in this moment instead of buying their time and maybe
Well,
going a one for one.
and also just kind of trying to cover their bases, right? Where if they don't have the hive, but they might have one other big thing, let's say a Ghibli, for instance.
Hmm.
They still have 5 mana to exert some pressure on the other expeditions, and it's also kind of forcing your opponent to force them to have it. Either you have enough to stop me in both and go over, or you don't.
This is a good card to start. I love the Foundry armor. Allows you to place the brass bug in target expedition, so you now have your own split. The mechanical training, unfortunately, not super useful for the moment because this sleight of hand is already exhausted, can't be used. But maybe going into the
Bug
next
out
day.
bag. I mean, bug out bag would be
Hmm.
a big deal.
Yeah.
Not only because it's 4 for 4 in stats, but you also get to how do you say that? You get to go after you twice. It's two separate actions, so you can still pivot if need be.
Also, hello to Lolkipper. Hopefully, pronounced your name out loud correct, aka Game Account -V60. Yeah, thanks for coming by and watching. We'll be here same time every Monday, different rotating cast. You'll have to deal with Blue next week, most likely. So I'm
I
sorry for
thought we
that,
got rid of
but
him.
yeah, unfortunately, he survived, which I guess is good to
Got to try a
some.
little harder next time.
Uh, but
It'll be so good to have him back. And here, look at this. The bug out
mhm.
bag did come through, but sadly, not going to get the value it wanted to with the mechanical training. However, dipping in a little different area of value and instead utilizing the Sierra triggers with another Twinkle Twinkle at their disposal, it might just it might be close because that's a lot of sleepy characters to a potentially final day if they do manage to go 1 for 1.
Unfortunately, the version of Bug Out Bag that is better for Sierra is not better for Sierra in this exact moment, as
Oh,
that's all that's left is that one mechanical training. And honestly, a Twinkle Twinkle is scary for more than one reason in a Fen reserve, but they're taking a little thinking time, so maybe they don't have a clear path to victory like they hoped here.
yeah, it might not be enough, but they do get to at least trigger Sierra again in the next turn if they do manage to advance. So you're gonna have to take into account that for yourself as well when you want to leverage the Twinkle Twinkle once more. In the under the assumption that Twinkle Twinkle is the only live play for Fen.
Oh, getting it played out in full is an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, but you have to because you have to deny that second play of the bug out bag. Here comes the pass. So they will be going 1 for 1, but most importantly, that bug out bag will not get a second play.
All
So
right.
that is a resupply they're missing out on, and of course the brass bug that would come from Sierra. So now we are just in full top deck mode. Now that is comfortable territory for a Fen player. They're very used to top decking. But for Sierra, that might not necessarily be the spot you want to be in. And it all comes down, well, with the mechanical training already coming through, it will be getting rid of the Anansi. You'd have to assume. And there it goes into the bin. And now we are left in suspense. What is that final card in hand? Is it the dreaded Brassbug Hive or another piece of gas that can fan these flames?
It's I'm calling a blizzard or avalanche just for fun.
Ooh, a blizzard from. Do they even have access to Blizzard? I
I
thought
think
it was.
they have access to both, but I will be honest in saying I get the two mixed up very commonly.
They definitely have Avalanche for sure.
Yes, so they do have
They
Blizzard
do
as
have
well.
Blizzard. You are
Yep.
completely right. How dare I question Shadow King 700?
Exactly.
I
Wait,
should know my place. Trash.
you mean the Blue Oak TV on YouTube hashtag ad? Yep. I will make sure to send a screenshot so he sends you your $20. Uh,
Yeah,
I
like a
did.
wanted poster.
Yeah, I
You
did
got the
ask
bounty.
him if he's hosting next week, so I can confirm when he gets back to you or gets back to me. If he is, he might be. I thought he was traveling this week, but he might be traveling next week.
Where's he traveling to?
He travels every other week for work, but after the whole having a heart attack thing, I think his schedule's a little off. So I have to double check with him.
Imagine having a job.
Same. Cheers to that.
No, no, no. We love the working class. We love the working. I know I pretended to not have a job, but and every other week for work. What does he do?
Oh man,
Maybe don't disclose that. Let's
no,
give the man
no,
some privacy when he's not here.
yeah, I think he's fine sharing. I mean, he doesn't talk about it a ton, but Blue is like a freaking professional. You would never assume that this man is highly educated and a professional. Uh he's actually an engineer, so he does stuff with bridges and things and has to travel
Oh
around to help out in certain areas.
man, what a nerd.
I know, right?
I thought him playing Altered made him a nerd, but no, it's official now. He
Yeah.
is a governmental certified nerd.
Oh,
Now,
the hooked.
yeah, the gigantic will be taken care of, but I feel like you're still just threatening a one for one if it cannot be answered with the two cards drawn by hooked. 4 mana is a lot, especially with the power that a Sierra deck does have at its disposal. I think it's always good to listen to the real doctors on online, especially when they're just saying it. Next time he should just not have a heart attack, dude. Health insurance companies hate this one trick. Wait, no, they love this one trick. They love people not having heart attacks.
Right?
All right, we will be going into the arena, and man, that is tricky because a seasoned doppelganger on a eat me energy bars in the arena might be problematic. Yeah, you're gonna have to put a lot of coal on the fire to burn brighter than a fire like that.
Oh, please do not put me in fire. I do not take well to fire.
But but you're such a hottie.
Thank you. This doppelganger, though, is scarier for more than just the seasoned. That second ability is from anywhere, as we see it immediately get played. I am always a little scared of a card that is not only boosted, but also fleeting, as it is a very high removal magnet in basically any game against any faction for the most part.
Well, make them have it. Make them have it. But they have seen a lot of cards, both of these players. And there is just the instant
Oh,
concede.
yep.
No answer for a gigantic doppelganger who will be sticking through until the very end. And it will be Banal taking the win in this round. Moving on to the next one. And we will be moving on to a new table. Will you do the honors call?
Yeah, let's see if we have one. Nefarious Tribe, if you cannot answer me in this exact moment, I'm gonna assume you're in the VOD like an hour or two behind, which is totally fine. But I
Yeah,
might
don't shame him.
I might just give you a heads up in chat if you're wanting to have us answer in real time. If not, see you in a couple hours. Let's see here. Do-do-do.
Honestly, by the time he is caught up in the in the stream, they might be done with that first hostage game actually.
Yeah.
Har har har.
I actually vote based on the 3 tables I've opened that are basically at the end. You want to take a quick be right back screen before we get into the final 2 rounds.
Let's do that. Let's give these voices a tiny bit of a rest, and then we come back swinging.
All right, we will be right back. Do not change that
Beam me up, Scotty.
YouTube live. Bring us to your main tab or else, and see you in a moment. And we're back. We are in round 6 of the Weekly Aces season 1, week 2. I also should say sponsored by Ludo Trotter, which is pretty cool. If you heard me earlier mention there are a lot of cool prizes and things like that, Ludo Trotter is obviously a big name that's been involved with Altered for a while. You can
What's
see
a
why
Ludo
there might
trotter?
be I don't know what exactly a Ludo-Trotter is. It seems like some kinda mythical creature. Definitely not buying time for this game we picked to load the art, but they are I think it's unfair really to call them an LGS, but they are a store, online and physical location, in France and maybe
And a pillar of the community.
yeah, they have helped with broadcasts. They were a big part of hosting the World Championship, which happened. God, was that almost 2 months ago now? I don't even know. I was there.
I
I don't
think it has
remember.
to be.
I think it was in October. All right, but we
Something
are
like that.
in a game now, and boy,
And we're off to the
we
races already.
might have an interesting one here. Rin versus Sol and Halua.
Yeah, well, and despite like the odd Sol and Alua that peek their face around the corner now and then on our journey, these are battling it out at table one for spot in the finals. So it is really important to first of all distinguish between what kind of Rin deck we have in front of us, Rin aggro or Rin festival. And sometimes you can only tell when it's already too late. So you gotta keep that in mind, especially with the sometimes limited amount of removal pieces at the disposal of the Soul and Lua deck. So keep that in mind as the game progresses. However, what is usually a pretty solid turn one play that usually either makes you go 1 for 1 or in a bad case 2 for 1 ends up in a 1 for 0 for Soul, who will be missing out on a counter, but will be taking the tempo lead expedition wise. Getting these Haven Stringers out at the right time to restock that hand later on in the game is going to be pivotal. But now, even with Soul and Alua going first and only getting a single expedition, not getting that first counter just yet.
Yeah, the this is a matchup that I don't know if I've ever seen yet. Of course, if you didn't know, Sol and Hilua are part of the new hero squad that have only been out for a little bit, and Rin is not played super often. Although with the sighting of a drowsy dodo, I think maybe that gives us a little clue on what kind of Rin deck this is. All of that for
Yeah.
me to say something really long that really could be short, that, Soul not having counters, I don't know if it's good or bad here.
Well, I mean, you prefer to have more counters, but being up 2-0 is not too bad either. But you're
Mhm.
playing against a deck who doesn't really care about that.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to keep that in mind. So the resistance in expeditions in general might not be all that, but as long as you can keep them off of those green advances, which you have done so far pretty well, you might just be happy with that. And now once again, um, making sure that they are not advancing on a green expedition because the dodo is asleep and this Muna Druid is just tying for the moment, and you still have the Haven Syringar at your disposal and getting to play that in a solo green biome. That's a dream.
Alright, what do you got here, Soul? You're not gonna get the pass again unless you just do it right now, which you could do. Like you
Yeah.
were saying, progression might not be the answer here, but more cards means more answers, right?
Ooh,
That's
all
a
right.
really good way to do it.
Going for the immediate pass. Um, and because they do have the 6 mana orbs, they will be getting a boost all across the board. But even if the Dodo were to awaken from his slumber, it's not going to make the difference. Getting a 2 on O day, whilst also getting their first counter. I mean, in a perfect world, they might just win the game before they even get to their third counter.
Yep, yep. I love Sol and Halua. It's probably my deck I've played the most, other than my
Really?
typical, for the past little bit. Although, I have, like, 2 total Skybound Odyssey, uniques, and none of them are ones I can play in Sol and Hilua, so I would love to have a fog half as good as this. Feels like it would be much better to play Sol with.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I mean, I think it really helps that regular fog is already not that bad to play.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's kind of the bad. It always feels like a double-edged sword when you have, for instance, a unique that is in its rare form is already quite good that you like to play. Like seeing Akluts that have the unique treatment with usually ability names that go when I get counter do X, Y, and Z. But regular Aklut already does a good effect on getting a boost and gets boosts on arrow at rare. So I'm always a bit torn when I see a good Aklut because yes, I get a very fun scalable effect. But on the other hand, I really like regular Aklut.
Yep. It's, the concept of, there are cards that some consider illegal to play unique stuff. I think the exception to a clue is, maybe draw clue, but other than that, yeah, you just want the normal base card. Um,
Yeah, no, but there are cards that are like certain uniques that are literally just illegal to play, right?
that as well, yeah. Flag on the play if we see any jellyfish coming out.
Yeah. Shout out to our American football enjoyers.
Yeah, I guess, for the rest of the crowd, it would be a red card on the play, right? Not a
No,
flag?
just the flag. Yeah, but they wave the flag.
Okay.
They wave the flag for like offside or when they see a foul being made in their line of sight. Whistle, whistle, whistle
Whistle
on
on
the
the
play.
play.
Which, well, for our Dutch viewers, is a lovely sentence. Very festive. All right, let's see what we got coming out on this end as Parvati uniques are entering the board right now, being able to give away anchored and from reserve more resupplies. So I think the anchored is the main thing we're looking at here, right?
Yep. As a
Also,
big fan of, rare
and getting cards in
Parvati.
reserve for more fleeting tokens. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't, I cut you off there on accident. Didn't hear the sentence. I was just gonna say, I hate this Parvati, it's bad.
I think the redeeming factor is that sometimes in Rin Festival you kind of struggle to get cards in reserve. I know it's very ironic, but sometimes you really just run out of reserve cards when you're not always advancing on green. So getting an extra card in reserve so you can get both fleeting and anchored
Mhm.
might be something you're interested in. Um, but I mean, it's I gotta have something because I mean they're 5-0.
Yep, yep. They've, obviously been doing better than I usually do, but the fact that the from reserve ability, you have to have 2 or more boosted characters, especially in Rin, is kind of rough, but good point to you on the top ability, being from anywhere, and it does allow you to get another card in reserve for
I feel
fleeting.
like the bottom is just gravy. Honestly, like if it happens, it happens,
Mhm.
right? With maybe the sneezing shrooms and that type of deal, or there's I mean plenty of ways to get boosts in Muna, right? But as it stands, yeah, well, just because you don't really play by the regular rules as Rin Festival. They could win this very day if they're not careful. Even if they do give up the 2-on-0 date, they will still win because the dusk trigger becomes for the check win condition trigger.
Yeah, I think the only thing, okay, there it is.
And you got to be
It's
careful because I mean we're gonna there's some anchored, there's sleep, and there's festival in play now or in reserve.
Yeah, I always just miss how Muna does not have access to the version of Festival that allows you to satisfy one of the conditions.
Yeah. That does keep it in check. Let's be real here, right? Otherwise, it would be such a consistent deck.
Yeah, so I was trying to see if there was any way to satisfy it now, but I think without the access to Anchored, it does have to be maybe next day sort of thing. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if resupplying into the festival itself was what they wanted. I would have assumed a druid or something with discard ability to anchor would have been the move.
yeah, especially because there is no resistance on the hero side for Soul, and there is very little resistance on the companion side. So even with just playing the fog out from here means that they will be threatening a double advance and the win. But there I mean there are still cards that you have to be mindful of. So they can't fully commit to the full investment just yet, just in case they need to intimidate a card back to hand.
Are they thinking or am I frozen? My question of the month.
I mean, they just played a card, I think, so it's up to Rin right now.
Hey, there's a beauty sleep. So
There's
close
a
yet
beauty
so
sleep.
far.
Yeah, I will be giving it to the Levine Spotter, meaning that the Fog all by himself will not get the job done. However, no, it won't. It won't. However, well, no, it might. It might because if they go to 3 counters, they will get Halua, and with Fog, oh no, it's on play. It's on play. Wait, how does that work? I think, yeah, if you place it, he will get Halua, and then he can decide to get the counters. This might be the win.
All right, let's see. Let's see how it goes.
That's the third counter. That is Halua, and now we're getting the boost that will put 3 in the
Boom.
mountains, in the water. And that's got to do it. There's the pass. Wow. That is with surgical precision sliding into that victory in style.
Yeah, very, very nice little turn of events there. The reveal of the Cowrie's intervention from the Rin, a little too late, but nice way for Sol and Halua to stave off a loss there. Let's see where we're at now. So, undefeated players. That leaves Bajulian on Sol and Halua. And then I believe we have Romomo and
Spartacus.
Spartacus next duking it out. Let's see how far along they are.
Who is Spartacus? I am Spartacus.
I am Spartacus as
No, I
well.
am Spartacus.
Everyone in chat is also Spartacus.
Yeah, but only if they say it fast enough.
This is
We
a
have Trace.
Trace versus a Basira.
Yeah, some more classic matchups. So I love to see that, even though there is some innovation going on, right? When it comes to the top, the most consistent decks are familiar faces. I think we can say, with maybe the exception of Sol and Alua, which I do love to see because I feel like we were really missing a proper aggro deck to kind of pressure these more controlly type decks that we've seen popping off. So I love to see Sol and Halua actually kind of push the meta in a new way, and it'll be very interesting once we do go to a more conquest type format once again. If we go to the regionals and we go to worlds again, to see how that will take their place in this rock paper scissors world of TCGs.
When are they gonna make rock paper scissors TCG itself?
I mean, they already made Magic, no?
But
Like, guys, no, you're doing it all wrong. Oh, they're doing it all wrong in chat, man.
and you gotta tell them what's up.
Man. All right, guys, be quirky. See if we care. Our feelings are not hurt.
Not at all.
Now, this is a lovely card you like to see in traced. However, uh, from hand, it's just a 1/1/3. It will get the job done for now. But yeah, that's not always what you see from hand. I do like to see. Man, this really caught me off guard. I was really expecting an arrow effect on that Anansi.
No arrow effect. Sad.
Oh man, but that is a scary setup to have right now with the Anansi in reserve and Trace will be first player.
Yep, and it is
That
each player's reserve.
Yeah, luckily, I mean, it's gonna be just 2 boosts and potentially another one from the Haven Bastion. However, the fact that for 2 mana, you're gonna be putting at the very least 2 boosts. Well, and you can still use traceability to
Yep.
dump a card in reserve as well. So we're getting 6 power at the very least in water for 2 mana. And let's Basira coincidentally be in a solo water biome. That's not where you want to be currently, unless you have a hunger hiding up your sleeve. But even then, you're gonna have to commit that to that immediately.
Come on, Spartacus. Oh no, did they just say they hit a bug? Don't say that. That's not true.
I think it might be. I think it might be. So we might have a few seconds going down of them refreshing the game, jumping in and out, making sure see if they can resolve it. But we're gonna have to see because on my screen it is Spartacus at play. Meanwhile, we have Romomo complaining about a potential bug.
All right, let's see if they continue the play here. Oh, interesting. Opts to not use the traceability.
Yeah, maybe scared of the hunger coming out, and wants to not lose his card in reserve as well. On top of the Anansi itself. So you would expect Traced here to just play out the Frankenstein, just to protect as many cards in hand as he can, right? So that if this hunger comes down, he's only losing cards that he would have lost anyway, regardless, because hunger only hits reserve and battlefield. But you're kind of going past that point unless there is trickery afoot. Because do not forget, Bravos does have the spell. I'm not sure what it's called. Available where they can discount a creature for themselves. So even on 7 mana, they can still sneak in a sneaky hunger, and I think they're fearful of that as well by
Well,
buying some more time.
yeah, they go with the helping hand instead to take it away there.
Yeah, and now they will be investing. And are you in the clear already? Because that is another Frankenstein, and these are real mortars when it comes to trace, right? The Frankensteins are heavy, heavy hitters. Next to the Anansis, they are a threat to be sure. So losing these would be a big deal, or not getting a 2-0 day with these would be a big deal. Keep that in mind.
Ooh, the mana eruption though. What you hitting?
Well, one would assume that they're going to get rid of one of the Frankenstein. That kind of surprises me since he has another one in reserve.
Yeah, it does not have the ability to get the boost from the Bastion. They go for adding the counters on the restocking station. Nice. All right,
Yeah, I mean
Basira.
they can save Anansi and Frankenstein. That is not a bad deal to have.
Mm-hmm. GG. It's not technically over yet, but they're calling it.
Yeah, I mean there's just so many resources at the disposal of Trace currently. Where they will get more resupplies of Frankenstein. The Anansi will just be a very efficient threat from reserve. And Basira, even in case she does hit a hunger, might just not have the ability to stall long enough for the hunger to be a decisive 2-on-0 option, or denying any advances whatsoever from traced. So the options might be few. It might be done for already. But like we said, these players go till the bitter end. No surrender.
Yeah, they used mana eruption is why the mana displayed like that. Playing out the Isunboshi probably means there's no hunger. Would have been cool to see a discard of Isunboshi into a hunger, but no can do. Ooh, and the Grems being available, and the Sanansi and Frankenstein, and they pass. So GG's to Ramomo on Traced, one of our other undefeated players so far. Let's see if we have another remaining.
Yeah, and with that, our finals are almost locked in, because I think we'll have 3 or 4 people. I think with 180 players, we'll have 3 people 6-0. Mhm.
Let's see. That's not
I think
updated yet.
I think we can maybe go to table 3 if that is still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is still playing. I'm not sure for how much longer. Oh my lord! Can you believe it? There's a sub hash on my screen, and she's playing on table 3. Get in here now.
Look at that.
I mean, they're
Subash.
not doing well. They're going down real hard right now. But I mean, the fact that they got there in general amazes me, and I will be asking for the deck list.
Already in the chat. Clay with the Clay Koba sitting in reserve, which is going to create 2 tokens by itself to then satisfy the total of 4 characters, and then it is going to give all of them a boost.
Yeah, you gotta respect the loyalty here, because Claudius has been playing this card since the first set
Yep.
loyally, and man, it's still a powerhouse.
I
It is still a powerhouse.
very unfortunately pulled a Kokoba over the weekend, and it's not quite as good as this, and it's
No,
also
it's not as
Ordis.
good as one of the strongest uniques in the world. Wow.
No, nope. So I wish it were close. That way I could just sell it and retire, but nope, unfortunately not.
Man, life just isn't fair, is it?
Nope. How do good things happen to other people that aren't me? Unfortunate.
Well, yeah, good things are only allowed to happen to us too, exclusively. So, if something well happened to you today, make sure to pass it along to us so we can also be happy.
Yep, true. True facts.
You did agree to that when you entered the stream.
Okay, Clay, what you got? You got one card in hand.
Oh, you are Elkis. You are now. You are forgiven for all your problematic usernames from the past. You. Yes, I welcome you back into my heart. Now, Savage is giving it a proper shake, and Claudius is running low on resources, so there is that. And do not underestimate, the fact that there is a send target character reserve trigger combined with a 3/3. So that can swing some things. So they will be put to 8, and they can put the gargoyle back to reserve, knocking them down to 7. But it will just be the 1-0 day, and they can take the fleeting away from a single Frankenstein. That'll be quite helpful. Oh, oh
They
no!
don't they don't they
Oh,
don't want any of
they
the
don't want to
card
give the
draw.
card draw. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fair. It is fair because they are low on resources right now. So there is definitely a case to make for that. And since they were already beating them in water, what is the point, right?
What is the point indeed?
So that is they are holding on, and well, they are kind of running the show right now in card advantage with 2 cards in reserve and possibly 2 in hand if they do decide to mana. They
The
are
clay
first, so they
boba
got
is also gone.
yeah, the Kikoba is gone, and they of course get to spawn a Brasbog if they pay one. So yeah, I think they are looking pretty good, but they can afford 0 mistakes right now. A single slip up and Claudeus takes it away.
Do, 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 do. Getting to that point of day where if Gus was here in chat, he would be asking if it's my nap time, and it is about that time.
Ooh.
We need the seventh round to come on up, or my battery's gonna go.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it. You are looking at a sub hash that might be fighting for a spot at the table, and you're dozing off. How are you not filled with adrenaline right now?
I'll just take a 3-minute power nap while you enjoy your Subash game, and then I'll be back.
Oh hell yeah! Don't threaten me with a good time. I mean, the cards are on the table, both literally and figuratively. Like all of the options that this sub has are displayed bare, and they cannot threaten a win, still being 3 steps away. So you're gonna have to be quite careful with how you manage your Frankensteins right now. You don't want to give up too much just yet. The Grems can put down a whole lot of power, so can the Bug-Out Bag together with the Frankenstein, but you're not there just yet. And you can probably expect Claudius to kind of entrench himself, might even accept a 0-2 day if it means drawing 2 more cards for the big finale. And the fact that somebody has to go first here means that they'll have to tip their hand just that little bit earlier. And if they are not careful, like I feel like they are almost required to invest a little more into their hero expedition. I mean, currently they kind of have to, of course, because they are losing. But even then, that last play that is at their disposal might just be that teamwork training. Now, this is very interesting because they'll be sacrificing the bug out bag. That'll be a card less at their disposal because that bug out bag was not fleeting, just to keep themselves in the game and to power through this expedition itself. That surprised me a little bit. I really thought they might prioritize the Frankenstein first. They want to hold on to that bounce effect, maybe get rid of at least one of the attorneys, or get the final information from the hand. Now we'll see, because that final card could be a Sandman. And if that
Oof.
is the case, it is all done for. So you got to be really, really careful as a sub edge right now. Think about all your options. That is the way they're going to do it. If they have the Sandman, it is all over. If it is anything else, the options are still rife.
Yeah, I'm not a good Axiom player by
It is a
any
Sandman.
means.
That is it.
Oh
They
no,
will be
my
putting to sleep anything they want,
the
and they
screen
will be
froze.
they will be squeaking in the victory. I can comment on it live as I'm seeing it happening. The humanity
Yeah.
as Subhash, who fought oh so hard to get through to the end, will be falling at the final hurdle.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate with the Sandman. I do not believe there was any other way they could have ordered those cards or anything else they could have done. The Sandman, you always got to watch out for that one at the end there.
You never see him coming, right?
I mean, hopefully you're already asleep, or he's the one that
Yeah,
puts you
yeah,
to
that's the
sleep,
thing.
I guess.
Have
So
you ever seen a Sandman before he hit you?
no, technically not.
There
So
you go, man. There you
all
go.
right. I have a good news for you. We are now in round 7, the final round, and we have our top table here, which will be Bajulian versus Clay. And also, Romomo is currently undefeated, where Matu looks to ruin their day and not allow them to go the 7-0. So we're
Ruin
getting,
their day, but not ours, because we'll be sliding into table one, won't we?
yes, it is loading. It is loading the game art as it says, or it's frozen. Let me refresh. Now it's
It's
loading the
it's
game
it's
art.
it's ooh. It will be exciting because it will be a first of all, Altered Aces Civil War. That is always good fun to see. Yeah, to see the best of the best rise to the top. But it will be that matchup against Sol and Alua facing off against Sigismar, and what a Sigismar player it is. I mean, does this guy even need any introduction? Is there any European regional qualifier he hasn't played? I am not very sure. He's been everywhere. He's done it all. He has a BGA championship under his belt as well. So this would be one to add to an already very, very decorated list.
I do not believe there are any that he didn't play in. Also, some of the Asian online qualifier ones as well, as Clay is a world traveler, from what I hear. Also, the host, and I guess one of the people you can thank for a Monday tournament being back around for your
Yeah.
viewing and
Thank
or
him
playing.
right now.
Yep.
Right now.
I
Thank
still
him.
can't get into the game. Can you?
No, I can't either. They need I think that they're hanging up some streamers or something, blowing up some balloons to fully let go of the festivities. But
There
yeah,
we
the
go. Now I'm in it.
woo, here we
Okay,
go.
so we saw
Yep.
a scouted Templar and a pass.
All right, all right. Now we have seen this before, where Sol and Halua will just kind of forfeit the first day if they can't really ensure themselves winning, right? And who knows? Like the follow-up play for a Templar scout is often, either an attorney or a legate. So instead of maybe going for a 2-0 anyway, if they don't have the proper play for it, they decide to just get an early token onto their soul and see what they can do with that. But one of the main advantages that I'd say Soul has over Sigismar is where they can really pressure the Sigismar in the time department. You're like, well, if you take too long to get up and running, I'm just going to sneak this away from you. That game plan has already lost some of its initial legs.
The thing in altered is 90% of the time you absolutely do not want to be double moved on. But Sigismar being who Sigismar is, it's like almost certain that in most cases you're gonna get double moved on. So yeah, if that is Sigismar's MO, and you don't have anything that can at least hold it down to only one advance, you don't have anything you want in reserve. Better to just get that counter and move on to the next day. One of the typical plays in Muna is you play your Spindle Muna Bastion day one against Sigismar, know that you're gonna get double moved, but then you have that little bit of protection. That Phileas Fog coming out here at a perfect moment, though.
Yeah, just card efficient, only investing a single card is relatively safe from all of the removal that a Sigismar would have. Like the only thing I could really imagine right now is them investing a Sandman, which I mean, if you look at the biomes, might not be the worst investment. However, they will be going one for one, still behind two expeditions, but staying top on cards will be quite beneficial. And when you look at it, they will be threatening that third counter already.
Very, very nice little play order here. And let's see, they can just play this fog again if they really wanted, and then yeah, get the third counter, get Halua on the companion side. It's not
Yeah, no, for sure.
too bad of a play. It won't get the boosts, but I mean, 3-2-3 is not terrible. And yeah, then you have the Halua as well.
Yeah, and I think you gotta keep your mind open till you have so many cards in hand right now. And yeah, it only feels like one more than our Sigismar currently. But the fact that you're in Bravos, which is usually so low to the grounding curve, the fact that you are staying in the game resource wars like this is pretty fine because eventually that will, if you do play that longer style game, you will even that out just a little bit with just the gigantic
Oh,
tokens coming through.
the Jack Frost though ruins the whole day. Okay, we'll just have a little mighty Jin to continue that resource advantage in one way or another.
Yeah, and that's a lot of power to have to fight through. They might have the option later on with to at least tie it, and that would be problematic. But if they just pass right now, I mean, they will get that extra 2/2 in there. That will most likely keep them safe for just. And when you look at how this unfolds biome wise for the next day, we might be, first of all, you can of course immediately just play the fog if you're scared of getting exhausted again. However, there is the answer of the accountant laying in wait who can put it to sleep from reserve. Oh, and they will be ramping it immediately. We have seen them favor this more ramp style of the gins. That's also why you don't see them really being run as rares anymore, especially in Sol and Alua, who don't necessarily need the card draw from it.
Yeah, keeping that low to the ground, one card has only been played, has been working out really well. Also, they're seemingly taking a decent amount of time to sit and consider what to mana, and that has been paying off. They're not really that behind on time in general either, because once it comes to their turn, they know what card they want to play. So seems like they're just forging the path perfectly here with each of their plays.
Uh, I'm just very curious how they will manage the pressure of the answers available to Sigismar right now in both the sleep to answer a fog. And if they do not play the fog, then it's just going to get exhausted itself. So are we looking. The perfect opening here would be a rush play where we both get sabotage on rush and play the fog. So such stars are not aligning for the very moment. However, we are just going to put down a whole lot of power onto the board, slap it down. They are first player. They will get those extra boosts. So even if they do manage to shut down the fog right now, they are still threatening a proper 1-for-1 day. That doesn't get them closer to victory. But in this situation, which is so tricky to navigate, it might be the best they can get away with.
Yeah, it's one step closer again as well to now the gigantic Kahlua. They've basically just been rushing towards those counters very perfectly. And from there, it's just kind of, you know, whether they can pass first or not to get the gigantic. But I really like the alt run teammate, and it just works out perfectly with this fog. After the stream, I'm gonna go open like 12 packs of Skybound Odyssey and hope I pull one of these in there. Probably not, but I can dream.
Probably not, but I can dream. Hey, can you maybe get your hands on any of those? Uh, come on, pre-release sets.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of Phineas Fogs in the Ravs department there.
yeah. No, I opened one and I got a Caladrius that's just kind of okay. So that was what I opened 2 days ago. And a license withdrawal is also another good way to get rid of anything boosted.
Yeah, and
Unfortunate
that is a discard. That is a discard. So that would be taking alt run out of the running completely.
or the fog. Just get rid of the fog, go for the move.
Yeah, but the fog is fleeting. I feel like so you kind of get a double whammy by taking care of the alt run teammate because that is not fleeting. That would be headed straight to the discard pile.
Hope for 12 Phileas Fogs out of 12 packs. I would like drive up to Oklahoma straight away and go put $100 on slots if that were the case. Although if I was smarter, I would say blackjack, but you know.
Yeah. Now they will be taking care of the fog. It seems like not too worried about what the alt run teammate value has to offer later on in the day.
Oh,
And
they're
this,
gonna sleep it.
yeah, well, or just the orders account itself.
Hmm,
There you go.
okay.
Uh, yeah, it only had one counter, of course, from the orders recruit entering. So might not be the outcome they were looking for fully, because I feel like if you could have, let me puzzle that one out a bit. You could have discarded the Ultron, and you could have slept the fog, and you're only one step away from victory. But you will have to be dealing with Solon with the gigantic Halua.
Yeah. I wonder
Tricky. It's a
if
tricky situation to be in, and if you have the answer, if you do not have the answers in hand, this might be the beneficial play on this one.
yeah, I think after knowing they're gonna be first, yeah, they're just gonna Jack Frost the alt run. The Ortis Accountant is kind of a play at blocking the gigantic Halua on the hero side, as now they have enough stats to do so. And I guess hoping that this next play is not a hunger.
Yeah, and even if it is, like you're still going 1 for 1, right? Oh, there it is. They are threatening it, but this is definitely not insurmountable, especially with the no single big creatures are very volatile and very susceptible to these Sandman plays. I'm just gonna say it.
Goes for
But this,
the play Koba instead.
yeah, and this might just get the job done, as they will be pushing over 8 in their water biome. That will be enough to take it over the edge. And yeah, we can see our Solonalua complaining, cursing their suboptimal start. And that's a lot of fleeting, but it will not matter. Cloudayas will win his the second week of the Aces weeklies, and you can now all call it rigged in chat.
Yep. And while we were seeing that, we did also have Ramomo win. That means the two undefeated players are Clay, which we just saw, and Ramomo. Everyone else has at least one loss. Of course, as usual, all of the decks and information will be over on 39 cards for certain amount, top whatever they decide. Do you want to check in on one more game, or you want to wrap things up? How you feeling, Bandit?
um, I think we might be a little low on the energy, man. I'm not sure if we can do another game justice, and I think we're not going to beat this game, which, despite the rough start, had a very close finish. It never felt like our Soul Hua was really out until we
Yep.
get one of the most powerful uniques in the world to crush it and drag it over the line.
Yeah, I
So I
did.
think it's probably best to go out with a bang.
Sounds good to me. I did like the big Hulua coming out, but it was like you said, unfortunately not enough.
I mean, 6-on-1 is a great score. Like, though, do not,
Hmm.
that is not something to be ashamed of, especially going down to the hands of Claudius himself. That is not something that you should be kicking yourself over. So, major shout out to not only Claudius, but all of our Soul and Hollywood players who entered this tournament today.
Well said. And yes, participate in the next one. Well, I will most likely be here Monday. We'll see who else joins me. Maybe it'll be a surprise. Maybe you'll know ahead of time. But that has been week 2 of the weekly aces. And hopefully, also, this bug on BGA is not around next time because it's very
Yeah,
annoying as
no
a
promises though.
spectator. Yeah. So Thank you, everyone. Bandit, any last things you want to give to the chat before we are whisked away?
Nah, just all my love to people that have been tuning in till the very end. If you want to stay up to date to what is happening in my circles or what I'm covering, be it altered, be it more weekly aces or riftbound or league, you can keep tabs on me on the twatters, the twitters, and the x's under caster bandit, and I think we can tie it off from there.
All
Thank you,
right.
Kohlrabi.
Yes, thanks for joining me. Always a pleasure. And same thing for me. You can find all information about me and what I'm doing on Bandit's Twitter. So
Fair.
I'll be around. I'm easy to
and
find.
and what if I'm really hungry for like some altered podcasts? Where should I go then?
Yeah. Altered Corner. If you're searching it, you should be able to find it pretty easily. But alteredcorner.com is also a multi use website. So find it
Go check
there.
it out. Give Cole some love.
Yeah, thank you, and, I'm gonna go hang out with my pets who are all deciding to cuddle in bed without me, so
Oh, and I've heard you will be announcing on Twitter if you did pull any Phineas Fogs.
yes, I will, let you guys know if I pull any. If not, I will cry, but
Thanks, guys.
thanks.
Thanks, Alkis, and we'll be back in the future.
See you later, bye.